right, we're about to get our America on. You're looking live at Constitution Avenue in the heart of Washington, D.C., where just a few short minutes, President Trump's going to be arriving, take his place for the 250th birthday parade in celebration of the United States Army. Just before the Declaration of Independence, it was launched. I'm Carl Higbee along with Tony Schaefer right here. Appreciate you joining us tonight.
Good to be here.
Today is the opening event kicking off. It's actually going to be a year-long celebration ahead of America's 250th birthday on July 4th next year, which I will also be celebrating wholeheartedly.
Hoorah.
Yeah, man. Today's parade showcased the history of the U.S. Army, including historic regiments, vehicles. We got flyovers, each with a single goal in mind, to show the world the awesome power and the history of the United States military. Today is also Flag Day and President Donald J. Trump's birthday. Quite an epic day. Dripping with American pride, unbridled patriotism. It's about 80 degrees out here with 200% humidity, but we don't care. Tony Schaefer is with me, Lieutenant Colonel. Sir, what does this mean to you?
Well, it's an honor to be here with you, Carl. We're friends, and
Yeah.
I think it's good to be with friends. But he is a Navy SEAL, and it says here, be all you can be. Did you not see that? How did you not know that you're supposed to be all you can be, Carl?
My bad. I joined the Navy. I didn't know.
But you kicked ass.
Yeah.
That's what counts.
All right, so look, guys, this is going to be a fantastic thing. A lot of naysayers. We're actually fighting a little bit of rain right here, but there's a lot of naysayers out there on this. And to those people, I would just say, relax, enjoy this, have a fantastic time. I mean, this is something that you will not see for a long time, and we haven't seen it ever before. Earlier today, though, I got a chance to speak with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. We spoke about today's parade, the booming military, recruiting numbers, and the role of the military in assisting federal law enforcement. Roll this.
Mr. Secretary, I appreciate you taking the time.
How you doing?
Very much.
Thanks for having me.
So a lot of news, obviously. We're down here at the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army. You're an Army guy. I'm a Navy guy. It's okay. We were better than you.
We'll do the Navy later.
Right. No, but seriously, this is monumental. It's a big chance for America to really kind of see what's going on, see the capabilities, see the type of thing the troops do every day. What does this mean for you to see your branch marching down the streets of Washington, D.C.?
Wow, man, it's incredibly special. And again, we just cancel out, forget about all the noise and the nonsense, right? The haters. This is about celebrating the United States Army for 250 years. And yes, we will celebrate the Marine Corps and the Navy. We'll get to all that. It started, 250 years ago in 1775 with brave Americans willing to stand up for what they believed in. We are honoring that legacy today. And what a difference it makes to have President Trump overseeing 250 than Autopen Biden, right? I mean, you wouldn't have a parade. You might even have some self-loathing. Yep. Instead, you have a full-on recognition of what it takes, as well as anybody, what it takes to defend and preserve freedom will be on display today. It's going to be a hell of a show. I know you guys are covering it. Thank you for doing that. And I hope folks will watch tonight. It will make you proud. Parades, I went to parades as a kid. They affected how I viewed our country, and I think this will have the same opportunity.
Well, that's the thing too, is I can't imagine half the nation under 18 years old looking at this saying, wow, I'm proud to be an American, because the last 4 years we didn't have a lot of proud proud moments to be an American.
That's right. I mean, it's also what they see from how we act. So it's one thing, yes, the parade is powerful, it's a demonstration, but it's also how does your commander-in-chief use those assets? Yeah. Why? How do our enemies view us? And you're right, the last 4 years were a disaster. I don't have to name it, you know it. This president is going to achieve, as he already is, as we're doing, peace through strength. Our allies know exactly where we stand. We're asking for them to call, step up and do more. And our enemies know where we stand also across the board.
Well, Mr. Secretary, honor, sir.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Carl.
you.
Appreciate you.
All right, so this is interesting, Tony. To see this, they have not rolled, especially the Stryker division that is here. They haven't been in Washington, D.C. since the 70s. I mean, this is awesome. But people are saying, oh, this is too authoritarian. It's not. Have a good time.
So, two things. First off, the idea that we can't show our might. What's wrong with these people? Come on.
Yeah.
And not since the Gulf War, 91, have we not had this amount of armor in the city. I think it's scaring people who, or have a weak...
Tony, it sounds like the parade's kicking off right now. Let's take a tune into that. We're going to be with you all the whole time.
And onward to West Point's next generation of leaders. For 250 years, one force has stood ready, unshaken, unmatched, unbreakable. And today, the legacy rolls on. This is the United States Army's 250th Anniversary Parade. Representing our joint forces, please welcome the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane. Joining us, the Secretary of the Army. Please welcome the Honorable Daniel P. Driscoll. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Secretary of Defense, the Honorable Pete Hegseth. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, accompanied by the Second Lady of the United States, Usha Vance, and their 3 children. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and First Lady Melania Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, would you please rise for the singing of our national anthem?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's
Before we even had a country, we had an army.
They started as a small, unorganized group of shop owners and farmers, but they fought the most powerful army in the entire world to a standstill in Concord, Lexington, and Bunker Hill.
Then our Continental Congress chose George Washington as general of our Continental Army.
But it wasn't until 1 year later, on July 4th, 1776, that news arrived of the signing of our Declaration of Independence.
Now we had a new army and a new nation.
With little gunpowder, no shoes, bloody feet, few cannons, little training, and even less food.
Valley Forge started in December. They went into winter camp in December of 1777. Approximately 2,000 Americans died that winter of disease.
They lived through hell, but they never, ever gave up. Not this army, not this first American army.
Finally, Washington and his army arrived. Here at Yorktown, where they had General Cornwallis and his powerful British army trapped in this city against the sea.
All of the preparation that Washington has learned through the course of those 6.5 years meets its full force here at Yorktown, and he employs it brilliantly.
Sailing from the Caribbean, the French Navy arrived and took on the British fleet.
Washington decided to make his move. Our men began digging to get closer and closer to the fort, finally getting within rifle and cannon range. Naturally, George Washington chose to set off our first cannon shot.
The British had two small forts in front of the main fort. They were called redoubts 9 and 10.
Then, on the moonless night of October 14th, the American and French forces attacked the redoubts. The hand-to-hand combat with bayonets, knives, and fists was bloody, to say the least. But within an hour, we were victorious.
And as the sun came up the next day, Cornwallis looked out and realized he was in serious trouble. So he prepared an all-out, desperate counterattack.
It didn't work, and the British were forced to surrender.
We were supposed to lose to the best army and the largest and most professional navy in the world.
But our young army had won the war and our freedom, the freedom we hold so dear. And 250 years later, for what started as a ragtag group of shop owners, has now become the most powerful army in the world.
Today, many things are very different from that army here at Yorktown, but one thing remains the same. An undying passion, guts, and love for our country remains deep in the heart of today's army. When I look into their faces, you can see it. That will never change. God bless the United States Army, and God bless the United States of America.
All right, coming up, we're going to continue to honor America at the 250th anniversary and celebration of the U.S. Army. That's next.
I'm Jonathan Lawson. If you're 50 to 85, this is an important message. So please, write down the number on your screen. The lock I want to talk to you about isn't the one on your door. It's a rate lock for your life insurance that guarantees that once you're insured, your rate can never go up at any time for any reason. Be careful. Many policies you see do not have one, but you can get a lifetime rate lock from Colonial Penn. Call this number to learn more. This plan was designed with a rate lock for people on a fixed income who want life insurance that fits their budget and is simple to get. Coverage options start at $9.95 a month, less than 35 cents a day. Act now, and your rate will be locked in for life. It will never increase. Your coverage can never be canceled as long as you pay your premiums, and your acceptance is guaranteed with no health questions. You cannot be turned down because of your health. Call for your information kit and gift. Both are free with no obligation. Don't wait. Call this number now.
Call 1-800-971-1199 for your free information kit and free beneficiary planner. That's 1-800-971-1199. There's no risk. That number again is 1-800-971-1199. 1-800-971-1199. Call now.
If you could help reduce the urge to go to the bathroom due to your aging prostate, if you could improve your energy levels because you're getting a better night's sleep, would you? Of course you would. And now you can with the help of Prostate Revive, the premium dietary supplement for men whose lives, sleep, and energy levels are affected due to the concerns of an aging prostate. It was specially formulated for men by noted medical doctor, Dr. David Brownstein.
Prostate Revive is really about healthy aging. It contains a plant sterol called beta-sitosterol, combined with 15 other important ingredients. Prostate Revive's exclusive formula helps promote normal prostate function, and that means you can reduce the urge to go and finally get a good night's sleep.
Here's how you can try Prostate Revive risk-free.
Simply call or visit our website now and we'll send every new customer a risk-free 30-day trial of Prostate Revive. You just covered the low shipping and handling. This is a $39.95 value, so don't delay. Call or go online today.
Today, Pershing Zone is playing a melody entitled The Army Goes Rolling Along. This was actually written in 1908 by the band.
All right, well, you can see right there the Army band marching right in front of the president, and we're going to take you right back to that parade.
Artillery regimental song titled The Caissons Go Rolling Along. And in 1956, the lyrics were revised by Harold Arberg as the official song of the U.S. Army, and then retitled The Army Goes Rolling Along. Pershing Zone carries on its century-old legacy, playing a march that brings pride to every soldier. The Army Song. The 3rd Infantry Regiment in the U.S. Army. Established back in 1784, the unit was dubbed the Old Guard by Major General Winfield Scott during a victory parade in Mexico City after the Mexican War. It is the U.S. Army's official ceremonial unit and presidential escort, conducting year-round tactical training to ensure the highest standards and utmost discipline of its soldiers. The unit routinely represents the U.S. Army and our nation in official ceremonies, major sporting events, and their own, the U.S. Army's own Twilight Tattoo. The Old Guard also maintains 24-hour vigil of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, while also conducting funeral services honoring our fallen heroes in Arlington National Cemetery. The regiment's 50 campaign streamer stand is a testament to its long, faithful service to our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, the 3rd Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard. In 1775, the shot heard round the world at Lexington and Concord sparked a revolution, uniting 13 colonies and forging a continental army from farmers and frontiersmen. Against the odds, they turned the tide at Trenton and Saratoga, survived Valley Forge, and at Yorktown forced a British surrender, securing independence and giving birth to the United States of America. Before radios and field phones, sound was the signal. In the Continental Army, fifes and drums carried commands across the chaos of battle, telling soldiers when to advance, when to retreat, eat, even when to rest. That legacy actually lives on today with the U.S. Army Fife and Drum Corps, part of the 3rd Infantry Regiment known as the Old Guard. Founded back in 1960, they're the only unit of their kind in the armed forces. Performing in uniforms patterned after those worn by General Washington's musicians. Playing period instruments with patriotic precision, they bring history to life, sharing the sound and spirit of the Revolution through more than 500 performances each year, both at home and around the world, too. The Old Guard, Fife and Drum Corps, everybody. And now, from high above, ladies and gentlemen, celebrating 250 years, your United States Army parachute team, the Golden Knights. Descending at over 120 miles an hour, the Golden Knights are using flexible wing gliders to maintain their formation. They open their main canopy simultaneously and negotiate the softest possible landing. I'll tell you, they can't hear you, but they sure can see you. You can give them a great big wave, ladies and gentlemen. The Golden Knights, the finest parachuting team in the world. Fort Sumter in 1861, a nation divided. Over 4 brutal years, nearly 2 million soldiers fought to preserve the Union. Among them, 5 future presidents and the first recipients of a brand new military decoration, the Medal of Honor. With independence won, our nation's westward expansion began. The Army moved in step, guarding settlers as Native Scouts lit the way. Immigrants joined the cause, and the Buffalo Soldiers etched a legacy of grit and honor across the American frontier. As they march by, a soldier's uniform signals their duty, their role, and their readiness. And by the late 1850s, official regulations outlined distinct looks, shaping the Army's identity and function across the force. Soldiers were issued 2 coats. One, a short sack coat for work and battle, with brass buttons and colored trim that marked their rank. Well, by war's end, that rugged sack coat became the soldier's uniform of choice. As the war escalated, volunteer enlistment surged. Congress authorized support for a force of up to 500,000 new troops, answering the call to preserve the Union. As they march by, representing the Civil War era of our nation's history, is the 4th Infantry Division based out of Fort Carson, Colorado. From Fort Cavazos, Texas, home of legends, the 1st Cavalry Division rides with pride. Born from the thunder of horse cavalry traditions of the Civil War, the 1st team forged its reputation on the front lines of history. They stormed Manila with the flying column, charged into Pyongyang as the first to breach the line and face the brutal crucible of Ia Drang, the first of 13 named campaigns in Vietnam where they proved their mettle. Today, that same warrior spirit lives on. You'll know the name, and you'll know them by their iconic cav hats, elite soldiers, and cutting-edge equipment. Tough, fit, fearless. The 1st Cavalry Division is a lethal, disciplined force that stands ready to fight and win anywhere, anytime, and the legacy rides on. This is the Cav. Special thanks to our sponsor, Lockheed Martin.
All right, folks, stay with us. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with some World War I and World War II marching honors.
We're back. If you've been injured in an accident that's not your fault and you don't have an attorney, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you what your case is potentially worth. Pick up the phone, call now.
The poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galena. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has 1 pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You'll see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
Right now in Ukraine, elderly Jews are trapped in unbearable poverty. If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help Rush, a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
Please don't delay. Call, scan, or go online now.
Hi, folks, we're back. If you've been injured in an accident that's not your fault and you don't have an attorney, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you what your case is potentially worth. Pick up the phone, call now.
Oh. All right, we're back. So, folks, you know, the significance, I'm here with my buddy Tony Schaefer again, the significance of the band in all these things. Throughout the history of the U.S. military, not just the Army, but the military, bands were used in you know, every country preceding us in the 1700s, even 1600s. Bands were used to keep the march and the beat, to get their people motivated and moving forward with signals.
Well, more importantly, the trumpets, the actual instruments were part of command and control. The two things were necessary before phones, Carl, before telegraph, was flags to basically have semaphores to show what you're doing, and trumpets. You actually had calls during the Civil War per unit. So these were actually major elements that helped you keep focused on fighting. So this is hugely important in the old days.
Yeah, but people don't. I don't think a lot of people understand that. You know, as celebratory as it is today, obviously we have radios and a variety of other things like that. But this is, you know, one of the things. Even overseas, it could be communication, but also, you know, when you're over in a war zone like some of these people were for 16, 18 months at a time, that was their entertainment as well.
That's it. Well, there's some great scenes out of the movie Gettysburg where you see guys sitting around the campfire. They had little quartets, little bands, and that's all they had.
Yeah.
So these were hugely important to morale, command and control, and these were what kept the lifeblood of the military flowing before technology.
And I think it's interesting as the World War I troops pass us now.
Yeah.
It shows that in a year, in a century, little over, century plus 10. How much warfare has changed. I mean, you look at wars that were fought in trench warfare with musical instruments and candles in boxes with mirrors on them in order to signal people. And, you know, now we have guided hypersonic 17,000-mile-an-hour ballistic missiles.
Well, think about this. At the time of World War I, we barely had aviation.
Yep.
Aviation had just taken off, so to speak, not to make fun of it. And then a dear friend of mine, Colonel Jerry York, is the grandson of Sergeant York.
Yep.
We went over there to help end it. The Europeans, Carl, you may have noticed, have a really hard time keeping peace amongst themselves. I don't know why that is.
Not great.
We keep ending up over there kind of refereeing.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting.
First time.
You know, we're talking about, you know, over there in Europe, things like that. Right now, the war in Ukraine versus Russia is actually being fought in almost the exact same method.
Trench conditions.
Trench conditions. They're lobbing artillery at each other from 100 years ago.
Yeah. And think about this. They have combined the worst of the old and the best of the new combat. Worst trench warfare. Horrible stuff. But you've got drones now to go out and do the dirty work. So it's a very interesting study of hybrid warfare.
Right. And the other thing, too, is the irony is they're all fighting over the most advanced technology, which is nuclear weapons.
Yep.
So as we continue to watch this parade march down right behind us here, obviously Donald J. Trump is in attendance on his birthday under that huge, massive tent they set up. I've never seen anything like that. It looks like we're getting ready to the flyovers.
B-21s.
Exactly. So these are some of the first real, actual, serviceable flying things we had in World War II.
That was the B-25 just flew over. That was the Doolittle raid weapon.
Yeah.
A squadron of B-25s were the first response to the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, and I think it was May of 1942.
Yep, they had these.
There they are.
They came over with the Spitfires. I want to bring in retired Brigadier General Blaine Holt, also U.S. Force. All right, so General, obviously this is your bailiwick here. Planes in the air. I mean, the advancement of aviation from World War I to World War II, and these planes are still flying as collectibles.
They are. They were incredible airplanes. They built them by the thousands, and it's just a treasure that we still have them. I'm glad that you guys are talking about signals and signaling on the battlefield, because it's the Signal Corps in the United States Army before World War I that started tinkering with airplanes so they could do signals. And that's what would grow up to become our Army Air Corps, and that's what would grow up to become our U.S. Air Force and Space Force. And so I'm very proud to see those airplanes overhead. And, it's a joint team. The three of us, we're all from different services, but we all know how to fight together.
Absolutely. Right. In general, the other thing, too, is air warfare changed the game. I mean, it was offsetting for all other tactics. It had to rethink the battlefield. Talk a little bit about how that rearranged the battlefield and superiority.
Yeah, so you weren't safe in a trench in World War I. And then we get this set of rabble-rousers before World War II, Billy Mitchell, Claire Chennault, that really hone in on fighter tactics. And with inferior airplanes, they immediately become a threat to the Japanese because of their air-to-air combat tactics. And then that evolves into what we would see in campaigns like Gulf War #1, Desert Storm, and even today. And now we're taking another step with unmanned platforms, micro unmanned platforms, and now space weapons working in concert with those, where now a fighter pilot is about to have 5 or 6 wingmen that are robots on them, and that's how fast this science is moving.
Speaking about science, they just rolled over the original combat Jeeps, like the CJ-1s.
Oh, my God,
yeah,
those are amazing.
They just rolled a bunch behind us, and those things used to be airdropped into the battlefield on a pallet, and they could have 4 guys completely build it from a pallet in under 5 minutes and be driving off onto the battle.
Carl, I'm old enough that I used those in combat, just saying. So there you go.
Yeah.
But Blaine, one of the things I want to bring up, Blaine, while we got you, think about what happened at the beginning of World War II. We got the World War II folks coming through right now, Blaine. They started off with aircraft. The new thing was metal skin. To the end of the war, jet aircraft. In 5 years, amazing things happened during the World War II period. Right, Blaine?
Oh, no, that's exactly right. But now let's look at where we're at. We've got B-52s that saw service in the 50s, and they're still operational to this day, and we rely on them. And they won't come out of service until they're 100 years old. So what Carl was talking about is important. We start aviation in 1909. What if in 2009 we just retired the Wright Flyer? That's what that looks like.
Right. Well, it's interesting. We're still flying obviously the C-130s that are 1950s. I mean, this is a propeller plane that is used for cargo universally, and it's still in service today. A little bit more hydraulic fluid on the floor than usual, but they're still usable, General.
Well, Blaine, you should feel good about the fact that you guys are no longer the junior service, right?
We're good. The mighty Hercules, or the 4 fans of freedom, the new J models, are nothing like your grandfather's C-130 was. They are meaner, badder, more capable, can do more, can handle more combat operations. And like my beloved C-17, they get bacon, beans, and bullets to the fight where they're needed immediately, anytime, anywhere, any place, baby.
Yeah. But only in America would you take a 105 howitzer cannon and a 30-millimeter Gatling gun and mount it on the side of a cargo plane and call it an AC-130, which became one of my favorite platforms to call an air support.
The new ones are the newest model. Yeah, they're great.
Oh, yeah. And that 105 in the back will kick the airplane. You can actually feel it.
Yeah, I want to bring in Ryan Macbeth, obviously an open source intelligence analyst. Sir, this is something, again, not seen ever in D.C. or recently in America. They're rolling in heavy equipment right behind us. What do you make of this, sir?
This is a fantastic display
of American freedom, all this rolling steel. I believe it was the Ford Motor Company. The tanks up front were manufactured by the Ford Motor Company in the thousands. And Ford was very good at producing gasoline engine cars. They were able to switch over to tanks. It really is a testament to American manufacturing and American engineering that we were able to switch gears and provide tanks to the front line through American industry. This right here is a half-track. This was sort of a compromise
and also
deal.
the tank, if people remember, Germans their tanks were outperforming ours at a ratio of almost 6-to-1 at a kill rate on the battlefield during World War II. They're rolling some of those, first edition American tanks behind us. Tank warfare, General, was one of the most insane things. Have you ever seen some of the World War II recreates? It really is a remarkable thing to see what they were up against.
In North Africa with Rommel there.
Tony, I mean, I've actually been in some of these tanks.
I've driven some of these
It's not
tanks.
comfortable.
Yeah, no, you got to be a small guy. You're too big.
Yeah.
You don't work. By the way, are you the reason the Marine Corps got rid of their tanks?
Probably.
Too many big guys.
Yeah.
No, armor is designed for a very specific purpose: to break through lines, take territory, and hold it. And let me tell you, without infantry, they are very vulnerable. So you got to have the combined arms team effectively working together to take terrain and hold it.
You know, it's interesting. They're rolling some of these tow trucks right now, combat tow trucks. I can tell you, I was overseas once. We actually got an RG, which is about a 35,000-pound up-armored personnel carrier. We got it stuck in a field somewhere. These guys will come out. I mean, like, we were in Baghdad at the height of the war. We were literally shooting people out of we would open the doors just enough to shoot people out of them. And these armored guys, they came in. They came in with M1 Abrams, which you're going to see in a little while. They came in with all kinds of infantry support guys, and in the midst of gunfire, they will tow out a combat vehicle. And do not sleep on those tow trucks.
We have three categories of soldier:
combat,
support, and combat service support. So let me just say this about combat support: those guys, they're combat, and you're just talking about some of the things they do incidental to combat operations. They're out there at the front doing what's necessary to do support. So there's really no difference. It's still combat, right?
Exactly.
It's all combat.
So do we still have Ryan Macbeth and General Blaine Holt. Ryan, these types of things, obviously you're Marine Corps, but these types of things are pretty unknown to the American people. And I think it's the significance of getting a chance to showcase, like, hey, we have all these things.
One of the things I've often said is that the United States military is a logistical organization that dabbles in combat.
As we go through this, we're obviously rolling more artillery down here. The other thing, too, Tony.
Yeah.
To put this parade together, a lot of people said, they kind of laughed at it, they kind of joked at it, and they thought it was a little over the top, but I'm actually really cool with this. Like, I'm really happy that people are doing this. I'm seeing a ton of kids out here, parents bringing their kids to say, "Hey, look, this is the might of America, and this is the evolutionary scale of it."
I got a question from one of our reporters about the nature of what you're asking about, and was it about recruiting? And I would argue, no, we're doing well in recruiting. This is more about showing the world what we can do. And think about this. Everything we're doing here, Carl, we're reviewing the industrial capacity of the United States. Going back to pre-World War I. Right now, you mentioned the Jeep. Well, there's the Jeep. That revolutionized warfare in ways that we fully could not understand at the time, because it made it so that we could move infantry rapidly everywhere.
Well, but
unheard of.
The other thing, too, is what people don't understand is even people who didn't go off to war, I mean, we're talking men and women who couldn't go off to war, they left their jobs to industrialize America. And part of the reason we won World War I, especially World War II, because, during World War II, the European, the Allied powers in Europe, they were losing ships 8-1 to the German U-boats out in the English Channel around Great Britain. We came in and we out-innovated, we out-built, we out-everythinged everybody, even off the battlefield.
So let me give some credit where credit's due. It pains me to say that the Navy kicked ass.
We did.
Admiral King, crazy Admiral King, he became the king of the Atlantic. He took on the U-boats to what you saw. He fixed that, and then, of course, he appointed Admiral Nimitz to the Pacific to win the war.
As you can see here, it looks like we got some Hueys coming in. If you guys have ever seen Apocalypse Now, that's one of my favorite scenes when they're coming across the beach, and those Hueys were like the original. They're actually still used today, not as much in a military capacity, but in the industrial logging industry, they have really adopted these. Incredibly versatile. These things during Vietnam were known to take hundreds and hundreds of rounds and keep flying. It essentially is a flying tank. I see an MH-5, I believe,
I've been
there,
a
an
crew
Apache.
chief on both the Huey, and I've actually flown left seat in the OH-6, the Cayuse right there.
Well, so
And
these
you see the A-1 Cobras.
Yes, the Cobra, the Apaches. I remember I was in Iraq. We had no way to medevac people out. We literally put one of our wounded, we cargo strapped him to the side of one of those Apaches, and we airlifted him back to the BIOP medevac base, and they were actually able to save his leg.
Wow.
So
anything in the situation to make it work.
Cargo straps.
Yeah.
Better slap that thing, make sure it's tight, and say, I ain't going anywhere.
And he survived.
Yeah,
it's a good news story.
Yep, he saved the rest of his leg on that one.
Yeah, but Army aviation is significant by the fact that the Air Force, I wish Blaine was still here. The Air Force took our airplanes, just saying.
Yeah.
And we had to recover, and we've made rotary wing and a very effective combat multiplier, both in the way of moving people and breaking things.
Well, that's the other thing is logistics. I was talking to a Stryker commander, which is the 8-wheeled vehicles that you're going to see driving down here before.
Right.
And he said the Army's ability to move stuff is unprecedented right now. I mean, they put these things on trains, planes, and automobiles. They brought them into town. But that is what the Army does. The Army is an occupational force. They can take thousands of people with thousands of vehicles and have them there by dinner.
Kill people, break things, hold territory. That's the job.
I would say the Marines' job is really to break things or lose them.
Both. You can do both simultaneously. I've seen him do it.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Back to the Navy. So I worked for a J2, Captain Tom Costarino down at Key West to Jatavis. And he said, Tony, you Army guys plan everything. You'll have charts and logistics. We Navy guys, we wake up in the morning and we have a plan of the day, and we just go do it.
Yeah. With a cup of coffee.
With a cup of coffee.
Exactly. Now, that is actually, what's interesting is I've watched Donald Trump. People say Donald Trump, is not a military guy. They criticize him about a lot of things in relation to the military. He's been standing up saluting every unit that has walked by. Every single unit. I mean, look, up, down, up, down. I mean, this guy,
he takes the role as commander-in-chief very seriously.
Yeah.
I think that's refreshing.
I mean, we're talking about an 80-year-old guy who's more energy than most 30-year-olds these days.
That's
and
right.
He is here on his birthday. I mean, I can think of a million things I'd like to do on my birthday.
Speaking of age, did you know that the combined ages of Joe Biden and Jimmy Carter still is not as old as the U.S. Army? Did you know that?
Well, 250. Yeah, exactly. I thought Joe Biden was up there, though. He might
up there.
He might average that.
It's, within a couple years, so just saying.
No, this is, it's incredible to watch this all come together. You don't realize how many people actually came out to be a part of this parade. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of people in logistics here.
And Carl, the audience can't see it, but we're looking forward to our right, and on the hill next to the Washington Monument is full of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people have turned out, so maybe we'll get a shot of that sometime. But
right.
It's amazing how many people are actually here in less than favorable conditions.
Well, there was a big criticism that not enough people were going to come out. I got some big bleak turnout and stuff like this. I'm actually looking at 10,000 people probably on the field of the Washington Monument scattered out through all this thing. It really is an incredible crowd, especially considering there was a 70% chance of rain. They kept it on. They rolled the dice. And they're marching through some Vietnam era. It's interesting, Tony. The H gear, the gear that they're wearing around their waist during this stuff.
No, I wore that when I enlisted in '81. That's when we went through basic training.
Well, I was born in '83. If it makes you feel any better. But even when I was in BUDS and SEAL training, that was the gear that they issued you because they wanted you to know your roots and before you got the good stuff. And I remember just running down the beach for 15, 16 miles at a time with this stuff, and I was like, man, these guys in Vietnam had it on.
Man, it sucked. And that stuff is made of cotton, and it gets wet. It's heavy.
Heavy.
I've been on air assaults with heavy shit in rainstorms. Oh my God, it adds like 20 pounds. Just saying. Saying.
It is. That was pre-body armor though too. When you're running around in the it's hot out here. I mean, it was. We've been out here since 1 o'clock. We had clear security. It was. 90, 88 degrees earlier today.
Well, let me hit this here a little bit. When we went through basic training in '81, we were just coming back the Reagan recovery, the Reagan buildup, And Carl, we would do our 2-mile run in combat boots. This was where they figured out, gee, shin splints, maybe that's not the best thing to be enhancing combat training. So they made us go back to T, but we were doing 2-mile runs and fatigues, the green fatigues we used to wear, and combat boots.
Well, same thing in Buds. They, they make you do your runs, 4-mile timed run on the beach, boots, pants on the sand. You had 30 minutes to do it.
If you didn't do the sand, but God bless you.
That's why I hate the beach. My wife wants me to get back going to the beach because, that's what she has fun. I said the water is too wet and the sand is too much sand in it. So
bad memories.
It's never going to be. Obviously, we're waiting for the next round of flyovers here, but they are bringing in the Desert Storm era, which you remember the first time we went over into the Middle East.
First Gulf War.
Yep, first Gulf War. These guys, this was the uniform. What's ironic is this uniform they're wearing right now was adopted by the Iraqi Army, and even when I was there in 07, 09, and 2010 again, the Iraqi Army was still using this identical equipment with the identical H gear. We just left it behind.
Yeah, we left it.
Yeah.
So a little trivia. When I went to spy school in 1988 down in Camp Perry, just saying, our graduation speaker was Stormin Norman Schwarzkopf, right before he took command of Central Command back in 1988. So we had the privilege of him addressing our military operations class.
Yeah. I look back at the interesting as it progresses through all this. And this, I think, is great for a lot of the people here, even some of the younger folks, to see that the advancements, because now we're even the advancements from when I was I got out in 2012. The advancements from then to now, the plates are a third of the weight. The guns have significantly better optics. The technology has advanced so much more rapidly.
Yeah. No, during my second deployment, I got optics for the first time. Until then, I had iron sights, and I still had ceramic plates. Those big old ceramic. Heavy plates.
Heavy.
Oh my God.
That was. But at one point they even went to steel, which was you were coming out the gate with just the plates and the body armor was over 30 pounds, and they knew they had to make a change there because when you were in Iraq it was 120 degrees on the ground.
Same in Afghanistan. It was 110 when I got there the first day in July of 2003.
Yeah. Now I want to go back to the parade as you see these
armor.
Yeah. There's these formations are coming right in front of the armor. Obviously, the Army, an occupational force. These guys swarm. Marines land on beaches. They do the first wave usually, but the Army can come in. When they did Iwo Jima, the Army and the Army Corps engineers and the Seabees as well, they rebuilt an entire airport, a functioning airport that was completely bombed out. They rebuilt it in 18 hours.
Yeah. Look, if anybody wants to learn how inter-surface cooperation works extraordinarily, look at the Pacific Campaign, Nimitz Campaign, going through with the Marine Corps, the Navy, and the Army. Brilliant stuff.
Right now they're rolling through some Bradleys. These things are great. All right, so the first time I ever got in a Bradley, it was in a training, and I said, this is great. I'm going to get in the tank. They're going to let us drive around. I get in this thing. I could barely move my elbows to operate the controls in these things.
Small.
But we even use those over in Iraq, and people laugh like, why is there a tank in downtown Baghdad? Well, I'll tell you why, because when they're shooting from the rooftops, it's real hard to injure anybody inside with a PKM, which is small arms fire. But these things were fantastic. They had small enough munitions, so you can see I believe it's a 25 millimeter on the front. These things were small enough that you could shoot them at a target and not worry about the 3 buildings behind you like the M1 Abrams that you're going to be seeing rolling down in a sec. These Bradleys, relatively quiet tank, very maneuverable. They could carry a lot of things, and they could even carry a lot of people.
Yeah. And plus, a lot of these have the automatic grenade launchers as well, which is a great area weapon.
Yeah, which I believe is protected under the Second Amendment, so I should be able to put them on my Ford F-250.
We should have them here.
Yeah, exactly. But these things have been around for 50 years plus. These things heavily armored, and when you're moving these things down a street like this is there we go. We're seeing a couple more in there. The Paladin tank.
There's the howitzer. Yeah. 155 millimeter howitzer.
So the what's interesting about the 155 rounds, and you see right behind it, there's an M1 Abram coming.
Yeah.
I worked with the M1 Abrams, and I really had no capacity to think about what a 155 round is. This round is almost 3.5 feet tall. Yeah. And when these things go off, we fired them in between buildings in Baghdad. They are so loud that they would break every window on the block, but whatever was in front of them was no more. And they were a fantastic weapon to use for the Army Cordon overseas, and they've been all over the battlefield for so long. It's kind of interesting to watch them roll down the street in Constitution Avenue.
So, A little trivia I told you before we started. My first exposure to an M1 in combat conditions, I was undercover in Germany as a student on a street in the middle of a German village watching these M1s rolling through in 5-degree weather. And it was just, my God, what I mean, just the power of those things rolling by at 10 miles an hour.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
You know, they're actually powered by a turbine, a jet turbine.
Jet turbine.
And they can do upwards of 60, 70 miles an hour. I mean, can you imagine a 3.5-foot round being fired out of something doing...
Well, they're supposed to be governor to 45, Carl, but yes, if you take a governor off, it'll...
I mean, who would take a governor off of a tank?
Of course, nobody. Nobody.
It's just war.
That's right.
Yeah, but then they got that little tiny baby 50 cal up top, just in case things get a little messy.
No, it's an amazing and a great armor. The Chobham armor is what makes it so good, so survivable, even to this day, despite what they say about the ones we ship to Ukraine.
Yeah, well, the other thing, too, is when we were over in Iraq, that was the emergence of the Iranian-backed EFPs, the explosively formed projectiles. So they started putting reactive armor. The Bradleys couldn't actually hold the extra weight to put the reactive armor.
They're light. Very light. Yeah.
The reactive armor, as soon as it would be penetrated with any type of munitions from an IED, it would actually countercharge and fire something back within its own armor that was keeping people safe.
So that's to deflect, especially Sabo rounds. That little explosive, really, believe it or not, will completely change the trajectory of a Sabo. Depleted uranium or tungsten. So just for the audience to understand, most armor is defeated only by essentially kinetic capabilities such as a Sabo or depleted uranium. Some controversy about depleted uranium in Iraq. Did you guys hear about that? The depleted uranium is not a hazard, just saying. I mean, everybody was up in arms like, oh, we're going to be leaving all this radiation in battle spout. It's not like that at all. So just saying.
Still wouldn't put it on my cereal. They just rolled through some M119s, which are essentially the same gun that's in the M1 Abram without the guided munitions. Those are more used as lobbing over the horizon artillery mechanisms. But still, I want one for my farm. No big deal.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Sabos, you know. I think that's a good, you could clear crowds with that, too. They wouldn't be around very long, you know. Not that I'm saying we should do that. How do you mean?
Of course you would say that.
I'm a kinder, gentler intelligence officer, I'll have you know.
For these protests, I've advocated for a long time that they should go get those bulls from Spain that they use and just let those loose in L.A. That'll run things down.
I think they get some people who look like bulls in DHS. Just saying. I've run into a couple. They may be here.
They could do it.
They could do it.
I'm anxious to see some of the more modern Blackhawks and the flybys that's going to be happening shortly.
Yeah, they're going to be here in a bit. I think we've both been on those, right?
We have.
We have been on those.
I've been up and I've been down hard in some of those.
And pretty like I've been like 90 degrees looking straight down. It's like, oh, this is going to be interesting.
Yep. What's interesting is, obviously us Navy folk, we still use the 160th. The TF-160th is the Army Blackhawk division. And let me tell you, these guys are like laser focused.
That's right.
They are the best helicopter pilots you could possibly imagine. They were unfortunately the ones who got shot down in a variety of different SEAL exercises January 28th.
But they're the ones who took you guys to Abbottabad, just saying.
Yeah, but
just saying.
They're the ones in Operation Red Wing. They lost a bunch of them. They call them the Night Stalkers. I mean, I have flown with these guys. My first experience, I was brand new to the SEAL teams. We were doing a training exercise in Northern California, and they have all these culverts that the floodwaters run through, and they were empty.
Oh, my God,
the desert. And these guys were flying with the body of the helicopter down below the top of the culvert and the blades, feet from either side, maneuvering at 70, 80 miles an hour. These guys are incredible pilots.
I can't say where I was or what was going on, but I can tell you these guys one time were flying at over 110 knots on the road below the trees as if we were a car.
Yep.
And it's like I'm sitting there looking outside like, and they were doing these turns. G turns, Carl.
Yeah.
I did not know a rotary wing aviation element could do G turns. I'm just saying, it's like,
I mean, I have seen these guys. We did some work up in northern Nevada, and we did a midair refueling with one of these things. And I remember we were climbing to about 10 or 12,000 foot elevation, which it just starts to get pretty cold in Nevada at that elevation.
I've been up at that aviation.
And I remember hooking up to this thing, and we start the dive as we're refueling. And I'm like, why are we diving? Like, why don't we just speed up to it? And I'm on the ICS, the internal communication system in the helicopter. And I said, why do we have to dive once we're connected to a fixed wing with a rotary wing, which didn't make any sense to me at the time either. But the guy says, well, if we don't dive and we're not using gravity, because the return speed of the back blade is not fast enough and will lose lift and flip over. I said, oh, you know what? You guys just do whatever it is you do.
So at the beginning of my book, Operation Dark Heart, I'm on an aerosol with the Rangers, and we're at 10,000 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is we were in the 47s, MH47s.
Yep, the big double blade.
Yeah, and those are the night. What do you call them?
160th. Yeah.
160th guys as well. What was interesting is that the 53s you guys have couldn't hang at 10,000 feet. I was talking to those guys. Each one of those things had like sheets of Kevlar on it, which added 10,000 pounds.
Yep.
You fly at 10,000 feet into a valley. I was talking to the aviators. Carl, you fly into a valley, you're constantly trying to figure out if you have enough forward momentum to maintain lift.
Right.
You can't even hover.
Right.
So just saying, these guys are incredible at how they do. They do.
That was the thing in Afghanistan is we came into Afghanistan with a conventional ground plan with flying 60s, the Black Hawks and some smaller birds, and they couldn't get the lift to get over the valleys.
Yeah.
And so the Chinooks, the 47s, the twin-bladed cargo things, which, by the way, can lift up a bus.
Oh, my God. They can recover other helicopters.
Right. Yeah, they can do some really crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Those guys came in and they were able to fly at some of those 10, 12,000 foot altitudes in Afghanistan.
So we got another Bradley coming through right now. Looks like one of the anti-armor variants with
I'll be honest,
missiles on it.
I'm loving this.
I love this.
Watching,
I can't believe we're getting paid to do this.
I know. Watching tanks roll down in Washington, D.C. as a celebration.
Right next to the president, our friend Pete.
I know.
What could be better?
It's
right?
great. I was sitting there talking to Secretary Hegseth this morning, and we were kind of joking around at this off camera, and he was like, honestly, man, I've been kind of looking forward to this for quite some time. It's a lot of fun.
It's kind of badass.
Look at this one under eye bag. It's gone.
There's this side and this side.
This to this. 50 and haven't slept in weeks. 35 and fresh from a vacation.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes, and as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. Even watching the video, this is a real, it's a model, but it's a real guy with real bags underneath his eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home. I had the timer on, and we were screaming. 4 minutes, 34 seconds, completely gone.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. These lines bother me. They really do. And this is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. Feels great. Looks even better.
And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles. So it targets all those problem areas.
So this would be a daily thing? Or
it absolutely could be a daily thing, but the way you want to do it is you want to have a clean, dry face. You use a small amount because it's so powerful. You have high school reunions, you have events you want to go to, you want to look years younger, this is it.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Your solution is at plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
You've put up with your old shower for too long. It's outdated, unsafe, and it's time to replace it. But why struggle with a lengthy shower remodel when Jacuzzi can do it in just one day? And there's no need to break a sweat or your budget.
Right now, we're waiving all installation costs, plus offering 0 interest and 0 payments for up to 1 year.
So you can finally convert your old bath to a safer, easy entry shower, complete with a custom seat, grab bars, and slip-resistant floor installed in 1 day.
My overall experience with Jacuzzi has been wonderful. Everything was customized to the way I wanted it for the price that I wanted to pay.
I've had a great experience from start to finish.
Don't take matters into your own hands. Do it the smart way. Give Jacuzzi Bath Remodel a call.
Call or go online now to jacuzzibathremodel.com. We're waiving all installation costs, and there's no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Go to jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 800-991-2952. That's 800-991-2952. Call now.
Welcome back to our special coverage of the Army's 250th anniversary parade and President Trump's birthday and Flag Day. President Trump's speech coming up shortly. They're marching through. They've really stepped up the music around here, Tony.
Yeah, it's kind of well.
With the times, I think.
You can't help step up the music when you got armor driving by, right?
Yeah. Again, going to the M1 Abrams, rocket behind us. These things are fabulous. It's kind of like a land jet ski with a gun on the front.
It is super cool. By the way, CSX brought them up. There was a train about 4 days ago that was in the news.
Yeah.
They put these things on a special train, drive it right up the Potomac.
Yep.
Amazing stuff. A whole train of like 30, I think there's 38 of these things.
Right, and these things are so heavy, too.
Yeah.
When we were over there doing the interview with Secretary Hegseth today, they had to put them on these huge armored pads because if they let them sit on the road overnight, they would literally sink into the asphalt. So it's actually amazing the fact they're driving them down there. It's funny. If they drive them too slow, it'll damage the road. If they drive them too fast, it'll damage the road. So I guess some person with a bigger brain than me figured out that, 5 or 4 miles an hour, whatever they're doing right
Momentum.
now, was exactly where they wanted to be.
Here they go with the strikers finally.
Yep. All right, so these strikers, these things are pretty rad. We use these a lot in Iraq. All right, these are incredibly versatile. You can stuff a ton of people inside, and it's not the most uncomfortable you've ever been. It's close, but it's not the most. Huge armor, huge capacity carry, and when that gate drops, you can get 16 guys out of that thing if they're packed in like 2 or 3 seconds.
This was the replacement for the APC, the M113.
Yep.
Which was a very fun. I mean, I drove those things for the CAV back in the old days when I was a lieutenant. But
I'm so sorry about that.
Well, the CAV guys didn't know their parents, so we were trying to help them out, just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the Bradley is an order of magnitude better by the fact you have more space, better armor, and actual firepower.
Yeah. What's interesting is the Bradleys and the M1s, they look about the same size. They're not the same size inside. No, as we're bringing these down right now. These tanks right now, keep in mind, there's, I don't know, maybe a couple dozen of each kind here, the Bradley, the Abrams, and the Paladins. And we have thousands of these. I mean, thousands to wage a war. Right now, I mean, you look at the war in Ukraine right now, this is like the main mechanism of destruction over there.
Right.
And they're going through like dozens a day are getting destroyed.
So this is to counter the BTR 60 and 80. So during the Cold War, the other side, the Russians, also known as the Soviets, put together something like this called the BTR 60 and 70. By the way, Carl, in Afghanistan, we saw whole fields of defeated BTR 60s just dead.
Yeah, and they continue to roll through these little mini howitzers, these 105s and 155s. Everybody, the Humvees, the classic military vehicle. These things, I love Humvees. They're fun as that all get out. They are such pieces of junk. These things have no
I know.
Yeah.
We should never gotten rid of the Jeep, Carl. Just saying.
They send you these things, but they also send you
Just
an equally sized box full of parts for them.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Look, they bailed me out of a lot of bad situations. Fantastic to have them. However, the running joke, they have a switch that has, you know this as well as anyone, they have a switch. There's no actual keys for these things. So the running switch for the new guys when we get to training is, I need you to go find the keys for the Humvee. So they tell you to go around and ask the motor pool, and they've already tipped off the motor pool that the new guys are coming in. I mean, we're brand new SEALs. I'd never driven a Humvee before. I didn't know anything about them.
That's right.
So they told me, hey, go get the keys for the Humvee. And the motor pool guy's like, oh, man, let me look. They'll send you on a wild goose chase. You know what? You got to go to logistics across the base. Logistics will send them back to Transpo. They're rolling these strikers behind us, these 8-wheeled vehicles. They have the ability to raise and lower based on their speed. Super fun. 50 cows. We even had miniguns on the top of these things.
Wow.
Let me tell you, there is nothing like shooting bad guys with a minigun. It is one of the most epic things, and it deterred more people after they saw one of their buddies missed it.
That is an enormous combat multiplier at the tactical level. Trust me, that's amazing.
Miniguns on the top. The Mod Deuce right there, the 50 cal, it's a belt-fed 50 cal weapon.
Yeah.
You get about 2 to 4 rounds a second, depending on how much CLP you put in the action there. But the miniguns are cranking out 40 to 50 rounds per second in a 6-barrel hydraulic gun.
And the Army's now working on the next generation, which we're not talking about today because we're not here, but we are working on the next generation.
If they want to give me the old ones, Tony, I am available. I will provide my address where they can ship them and any remaining
you
ammo.
You can do like an old car meetups every weekend. Like bring your strikers out.
Exactly.
You can decorate them with different, I love the tiger stripes. We could do a tiger stripe striker. It'd be great.
Yeah. No, it'd be great. Look, anytime, I'm just going to say this on the record, Secretary Hegseth, President Trump, if you can hear us right now, if you want to get rid of if you want to dermo any of this military equipment, just drop it off. I live in Greenwich, Connecticut. It'll go great in my homeowners association.
We'll take some in Edenton. I'm speaking for the county of Edenton as a commissioner.
Exactly.
Mr. President, send your armor our way.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to get in trouble Monday.
Yeah, I will get a fine from the HOA, but you know what? It's okay because I have a tank and they can't do anything about it.
That's right.
So
we'll take out our anger against our other counties, about take over appointments.
You know what? This is the type of thing you got to have fun with this.
Yeah.
Being back in the presence of this stuff, even though we're in a static location in D.C., it really is kind of nostalgia to watch this stuff roll by and say, when people are like, well, why do you need 1,000 tanks? So I don't have to worry about you asking me why I need 1,000 tanks.
Yeah. Well, why not have 2,000? What if the first 1,000 don't do it? You got to have another 1,000.
That's like, well, we spent $18 billion on an aircraft carrier and then built 10 more. So.
Speaking of that, so at Fort Pickett, you haven't been to Fort Pickett, I don't think. It's Central Virginia. We have the older models of the M1, and we have approximately, the last time I checked, about 300. So if we ever get rid of the modern ones, we can bring those out and modernize them.
Yep.
Just saying.
Well, what's interesting is the engines they put in these things, too, in like the Strikers, and so, especially the older Bradleys.
Yeah.
I have a sawmill. I'm fortunate enough to have a sawmill on my farm upstate Connecticut. And I have an old International engine that was built for World War II.
Yeah.
Okay? It starts on gas and it runs on diesel. It was built, it never shipped over to the war. It was a surplus engine. It starts with a hand crank in front, 100 horsepower engine or whatever it is. It starts like it was built yesterday.
Wow.
I mean, it's unbelievable, and that is a testament to the innovation that we had to build this military that you see. And honestly, some of these things in here, 40, 50-year-old engines and a lot of these things are still running.
Carl, we have some of this stuff still in depots, and I'm an advocate of keeping it because you know what it doesn't have? Electronics.
Right.
You cannot use an EMP blast to take these things down.
Yeah.
I was trained as a telecommunications center operator on analog equipment.
Mm-hmm.
We never worried about an EMP pulse because it was all analog.
Yeah.
So I always believe having just a little bit of analog is a good thing, just in case, right? Because these things are built to last.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is everything now is computer this, computer that. So sometimes I like to have a little bit of that. One of these days I want to build one of these old Jeeps myself. I want to go back to that because a couple more just drove by. Like I said, they dropped these things in on a pallet, and 4 or 5 guys could assemble this in 4 or 5 minutes. Think about where we are today. Tony, we had people, 17-year-olds on a battlefield assembling these things in 5 minutes, and now we have owner's manual.
Hammers, screwdriver.
Most owner's manuals in today's cars tells you not to drink the contents of the battery fluid.
Yeah, that's a bad sign. Yeah. Don't take anything liquid out of a vehicle and consume it. Bad idea.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that we have to tell people that is
it's like not good. But hey, we're coming back. Pete is, Pete Hegseth talked today about recruiting being up.
Yep.
I think we have kids who want to be here, and when you want to be here, Carl, you know that. If you want to be somewhere, you want to be part of it. You want to be part of something greater than yourself, and you want to actually succeed. So.
Well, you think we talked about that in my interview that is going to air. We're going to air it a couple more times. We'll air it on Monday on my show as well. A little bit of that. We talked about that $1 trillion budget. We spend more than the next 25 countries combined on national defense. So when I hear places like Canada said like, oh, we don't need America, it's like, okay, fine. Okay. Don't enjoy our blanket of protection, you guys. But this is the other thing too, is we took away the 2 moms and all the gay stuff out of the ads, and all of a sudden started putting warfighter mantra in the ads, and all of a sudden warfighters started joining. Weird, right?
I was joshing you earlier. I can use that word on here, right?
Yeah.
So on one of our flyers that we were given by the Army was the motto that was being used when I came in: "Be all you can be."
Right.
So. And I think there's multiple aspects of this. And now you're looking at the troops, you're looking at the armor. Mm-hmm. What you need is the ultimate weapon is the human being. And when you can be all you can be as part of something greater than yourself and be effective, be something that actually wants to win and can win, that changes the whole fabric of a military.
Well, you know, the other thing too, which I love about the military, no matter what branch you're in, is the notion of embracing the suck. Is when it gets bad, you find out your character, you find out who you are,
and you get to the other end, and you're proud of yourself and proud of your buddies.
And the camaraderie that, like, I have guys that, you know, I served with. I went through BUDS in 2003, 2004, and I tell you, some of these guys, I won't hear from them for 10 years. They pick up the phone, hey, you need something? I'm there in the middle of the night. You know, and they do the same for me. That's something that you just can't teach.
Secretary of the Army, and Pete. There's Pete.
There he is.
So, speaking of memories, and I'm sure a lot of the Army guys have this memory, I started off as enlisted as a private.
Yep.
And Carl, I was doing KP at 4 a.m. scrubbing field ovens.
Yeah.
There is no worse experience, but I remember that. I remember what it's like to be a troop.
Yep.
And you always remember, when you're then in command, when you're an officer, you remember what it was like and what those guys go through to help you.
Yeah.
And it makes you a stronger leader. And just for the record, Army, Secretary of the Army, I think all officers ought to go through enlisted basic training.
Yeah.
Just so that, and then get 6 months out.
Get hazed a little bit.
Get hazed. Go out and do what's necessary to understand what those Joe Snuffies go through every day. Joe or Jane Snuffies.
When I was, even before BUDS, when I was in boot camp, they made me sweep the gravel parking lot.
Yeah.
And I said, what the hell am I doing here sweeping a gravel parking lot? And they said, we just don't want you to be comfortable.
Bill's character. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, it's very, very interesting to see this whole thing. And look, Trump is smiling, having a blast. Might as well jump as tanks roll down Constitution Avenue right in front of the President of the United States.
Oh, I want to mention that we'll be doing the next running of the Veterans Parade in the 9th of November coming up, too.
No, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I just never thought I'd hear Van Halen and tanks in Washington, D.C.
I think this is chill. This is cool.
No, I'm here for it. This whole thing. Look, I hope people are just having a good time. I really do. I hope that people are taking a chance to sit back at this and really enjoy the production.
Here comes some more M1s. I know they brought a whole, brigade of these things in, so they're going to be rolling through. And like you said, Carl, they have to maintain a certain speed. Not too fast, not too slow, kind of Goldilocks, right? You got to kind of, be balanced with the armor, with the treads and everything.
No, very interesting. I mean, you're talking about, 80 to 100,000 pounds in some of these.
Oh, yeah.
Just the armor. So some of those plates you're seeing right there, up to an inch thick. I mean, you can shoot a 50 cal right at it and watch it bounce off and smile. A500 steel. Just awesome. And you know what I hope, too? I hope some of these other countries, like people are comparing this to North Korea. I hope Kim Jong-un or Il or whatever it is, he looking at this right now being like, oh, man, he has more tanks than me.
So, yeah, I think this is something of a show of force to understand that we are back as a military. And the president, as we already know, this president is not afraid to follow up his, I don't think they're threats.
Yeah.
If you follow through with something, it's not a threat, is it, Carl? It's like a promise, right? So if he promises something, I think you can count on it happening. So
no, it absolutely. So we roll more strikers and some Bradleys and M1s through here. This is still going. I had no idea. We saw a lot of these lined up this morning. I had no idea it was going to be this big.
Yeah.
I mean, they're moving full on into the modern military now. I'm sure they're going to have some spec war coming out of this whole thing. It's going to be.
By the way, quick note: you see a lot of the troops wearing the Scorpion pattern uniform. That's a derivative of the Cry Precision uniform that was developed for Afghanistan. That became the standard uniform, field uniform for the U.S. Army and for the U.S. Air Force. Air Force wears it now too.
Exactly.
It's very effective in most conditions we face globally.
You know what's interesting too is I have found you've probably need some gear in your day, test and evaluation.
Yeah.
And, sometimes the innovations aren't always better.
Oh, I know that.
Sometimes the good old, I remember when they went from the ACOG, the scope that we had on our M4s, and they wanted to try this new thing called the LCAN, which is this other scope, 1 to 4 variable. And it kept breaking, so we were like, just give us the old stuff. It worked fine. We don't have to learn anything new.
Well, there's something called the military-industrial complex, which, they like to, develop things.
There was also a T&E they had me do. I checked in as a new guy. Now, when you're a new guy, as you know, it is like the worst thing. It's like all the dumb stuff. You just try it. You have to do it. And I check into the team, and they were like, we're going to have you T&E this new gun, see how you like it, take it across the beach. I mean, keep in mind, it's December in Virginia Beach, so it's not warm. The water's 40 degrees. So we do this T&E thing for about 2 weeks with this weapon called the SCAR. And we get this thing back, and in its current model, we were like, this thing's garbage. They're like, great, we bought 14 pallets of them. I was like, but what was the point of suffering? Yeah, to check the box. Here's another one. Here's a good howitzer coming through right here.
One of the newer 155s. Yeah.
Fortunate son. Now, I want a Huey flying over my head during this song.
I wish they would do more flybys. I wish they would like a continuous flyby of Hueys and Blackhawks.
Yeah, I'm looking at the weather. It seems okay. We're getting a little rain here and there.
And I haven't seen the Blackhawks yet. Have you?
Yeah, no, not at all.
Not at all. So I didn't think I missed them.
The Apaches were the last really advanced. I think I saw an MH5 up there, one of the little birds.
Yeah, well, the OH-6, that was the OH-6, but the OH-6, the AOH-6 are the new ones, the little birds.
Yeah. The little birds are fantastic. I did a couple of those where I was straddling a minigun flying into some hot neighborhood in North Baghdad.
And you still had kids. That's wonderful.
Weird, I know, right?
I know.
I think they're okay for now.
A miracle.
Yeah, exactly. And you were saying the depleted uranium didn't do anything.
Wow.
I beg to differ. Actually, the fact that my kids turned out normal probably is a testament to the radiation poisoning I did get to offset my bad genes.
That's good. Well, I guess you took plenty of, zinc and other modifiers,
Yeah, it's
supplements.
You know, it's going to be interesting when, and not if, when they do the one for the Navy. Are we going to do that on the Potomac? Like, how is that going to work?
That it'll probably be down in Norfolk, in your old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you got carriers down there. We got 2 or 3 down there right now hanging out.
Yeah, and this is all nice, fine, fun, and dandy. But if you've never seen an aircraft carrier, I mean, you're talking about a quarter-mile plus long floating city with 4,000.
The cornerstone of everything the Army does, we are continuously transforming. Army careers span the spectrum from attorneys to astronauts and mechanics to engineers. The Army's greatest asset is our people, the finest men and women our great nation has to offer, with a myriad of talents that make us stronger. Aside from its people, the Army's next greatest asset is its technology and equipment. Coming up next, these vehicles offer a glimpse of what the Army employs for readiness and battle. The portable howitzers and the portable Abrams tank were used extensively in the Gulf War, along with Bradley tanks and the infantry squad vehicle. The ISV provides enhanced tactical mobility of an infantry brigade combat team.
You can see them revving up just to get down the street here. This thing is awesome.
Now, the one here, you got a radar on it. That's a surface-to-air variant. That's an anti-air system coming up behind the one right behind us right now.
Yeah, no, these things are awesome.
Yeah, there it is.
There we go, rolling down.
Cab, sir.
Exactly.
Colonel Kilgore. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Yeah, well, it was interesting when they were lighting off the artillery behind the president, just, in the initial salute to him, while they were playing him come up. I could smell the gunpowder. It's like that smell of freedom. I absolutely love. Oh, it's so fantastic. That was one of the greatest smells I've ever enjoyed. After like a long gunfight, you're coming back and that is in the air, especially if you've had to drop CAS or call in like an armored division like this. That is a reassuring
Look at those kids.
Look at this. This is what it's about.
That's what it's about.
Put those kids back up.
Yeah.
This is what it's for. This is for America to realize these kids are having a blast. They will never forget this. And those kids might go on to be the next commanders and generals and colonels and things in this United States military. And that's what we need. We need some pride in joining the ranks here. So.
Now, you can see the Bradleys, they don't have the reactive armor. A lot of the time they'll have reactive armor. That is obviously taken off for the purposes of this parade, because we don't expect any, hostile activity at that level. A few maybe, smelly protesters, but they can't protest. They can't penetrate armor.
No,
just saying.
And they are still rolling armor through here. This is incredible.
So have you driven a tank?
I have. I drove an
They're fun.
Abram.
They're fun.
You know, it's interesting. I drove the Abrams with, it's like a joystick scenario.
Yeah.
It's not as hard as, I mean, I'm terrible at video games. I'm the guy, you know, in Call of Duty, I'm running into the corner, you know, and getting shot in the back of the head by everybody laughing at me. So I'm not a video game guy. So it took me a little while to pick it up. But, you know, when you've got that kind of horsepower behind you, it's...
Yeah. So I was actually, as a lieutenant officer candidate, the Ohio Guard had the M60s. We got to drive the M60s and M48.
When duty calls, U.S.
Yep. You know what I would... You know what's interesting is I think there were a lot of people on the other side of the political aisle looking to make the comparison of like a ballistic missile driving down this thing. And they were going to try to make Trump out to be, what did they always say, literally Hitler is what they call him.
I know, it's insane.
But, you know, this is smiling, laughing. I'm looking at people here. Even though we got the VIP section behind us, which is, you know, friends of, and these are people that are really having a good time. I think people underestimated how good this is.
I don't want to say it's carnival atmosphere, but it's very close. I mean, people are actually enjoying the fact that America's back.
Yeah.
And we have a military, the 250th anniversary. As pointed out earlier, Carl, we are older than the Constitution.
Yeah. All right, well, coming up, we're going to continue our coverage of the 250th birthday celebration of the U.S. Army right after this break. Don't go anywhere.
I'm Jonathan Lawson. If you're 50 to 85, I have an important message about security. Write down the number on your screen so you can call when I finish. The lock I want to talk to you about isn't the one on your door. This is a lock for your life insurance, a rate lock that guarantees that once you're insured, your rate can never go up at any time for any reason. But be careful. Many policies you see do not have one. But you can get a lifetime rate lock from Colonial Penn. Call this number to learn more. This plan was designed with a rate lock for people on a fixed income who want life insurance that fits their budget and is simple to get. Coverage options start at $9.95 a month, less than 35 cents a day. Act now, and your rate will be locked in for life. It will never increase, guaranteed. This is lifelong coverage that can never be canceled as long as you pay your premiums, guaranteed. And your acceptance is guaranteed, with no health questions. You cannot be turned down because of your health. Call for your information kit and read about this rate lock for yourself. You'll also get a free beneficiary planner. Both are free with no obligation. Don't miss out. Call for information, then decide. Read about the 30-day 100% money-back guarantee. Don't wait. Call this number now.
Call now and you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. Use this valuable guide to record important information and your final wishes. And it's yours free just for calling. So don't wait. Call 1-800-355-9660. That's 1-800-355-9660. There's no risk or obligation. That number again is 1-800-355-9660. That's 1-800-355-9660. Call now.
Are you looking for a walk-in tub for you or someone you love? Well, look no further. A Safe Step walk-in tub is the best in its class. The ultra-low Easy Step helps keep you safe from having to climb over those high-walled tubs, allowing you to age gracefully in the home you love. Now, for a limited time, when you purchase your brand new Safe Step walk-in tub, you'll receive a free safety package. And if you call today, you'll also receive $1,500 off your entire order. Yes, $1,500 off. Now, you can enjoy the best of both worlds. The therapeutic benefits of a warm, soothing bath that can help increase mobility, relieve pain, boost energy, and even improve sleep. Or, if you prefer, you can take a refreshing shower with our stand-up shower package. Call today and receive a free safety package, plus $1,500 off.
It's a fact. 80% of your immune system is controlled by gut bacteria, and many people suffer from digestion woes. Dr. David Brownstein created Bactipro to help. This premium formula supports optimal immune health and contains 6 powerful probiotics. So try Back to Pro to see if it helps you with our risk-free offer. Get 30 days of Back to Pro at no cost to you. Go online now or call us toll-free today.
All right, welcome back to our special coverage of the 250th Army Anniversary Parade and Donald Trump's birthday as we await President Trump's speech. That'll be coming up very shortly. They're continuing, Tony, to march down resources and assets. It doesn't. People really don't understand. So the Red Berets, the Airborne Division,
82nd Airborne.
Yep, the Airborne Division. These guys, I tell you, we went down to Fort Benning. We used to do our static line jump master, which is the one where those big round chutes, they pull them as you jump out of the plane.
You told me that. Yeah.
I went down to Fort Benning to do that. That was part of the SEAL pipeline, and worked with these guys. They are churning out airborne people like a machine down there.
Yeah.
You have they have enough people. The U.S. Army has enough people to send out of enough planes quick enough to occupy an entire city.
Yeah. So the Army is a corporation.
Yep.
Just saying. We
it's a manufacturing plant.
We know how to make things, train things, move things, shoot things. It's a one-stop shop, Carl, if you will. You know, we do a little bit of everything.
Yep.
So, but Navy does it well too. I mean, Navy, you guys are, I don't know. My first tour in Afghanistan was with the CSG guys, Crippling Support Group guys. So, just saying.
Yeah. No, it's interesting to see all this stuff continuing to walk down here. Obviously, the Berets are an entirely different system than...
Requiring ongoing maintenance in the field and on base because nothing happens until something moves. Wheeled vehicle mechanics supervise and perform maintenance, repair, and recovery operations on vehicles that serve the Army in a variety of mission-critical roles. Included in the array of mobile artillery such as Paladins and the Abrams tank is the Joint Light Tactical Vehicle known as the JL.
Stole from the Rangers their beret and gave it to the Army.
Yep.
So they've now got the tan beret. Just saying.
Tan beret.
I think they've gotten over it, but it was
I remember
actually thing to do.
I remember that back in the day when they were doing the beret.
Yeah,
I
thought it was a bad idea. We're still authorized to wear berets.
Well, but this is the problem. Every once in a while, you get somebody in there that wants to make everybody feel special. So they take special forces stuff and privileges, and they give them to the Mark I motto rank and file.
I know. Well, Navy does well maintaining a certain level of special operations forces, both white world and black world. Just saying. Yep. Marine Corps finally recognized that they aren't all special. They had to have special operations.
Right.
They finally got the memos like, hey, you need to have special operations.
Yeah.
We're all special. Yeah, no, not the short school bus special. Not that special. So,
right.
But anyway.
Well, here's, they're rolling through these personnel carriers. So this was something that came into, more in the Desert Storm, but then really got in Iraq, was in Afghanistan. The problem was these Humvees that initially we had no armor, and then the IEDs came in.
They were designed for Europe, Carl, replenishment, not for combat. Just saying.
So then it came into the up-armored ones to avoid the IEDs. But the problem is, if you're light, you're right and fast. If you're heavy, you're protected, but you're not fast. You can't get off the X. So as the war kind of marched up, you see these personnel carriers. It's basically a souped-up ATV with no doors. And this became the thing later in the war in Iraq because we were operating outside the cities because we'd largely destroyed the cities, but also in Afghanistan. You could get places very light. You could go for a long distance. You could carry 6-8 people in one of those, put miniguns, put 240 Golfs right out the side.
Yeah.
Very versatile vehicles. It helped actually a lot of things. And they took a lot of the same parts as the Hummers.
And that's the good thing. It was very, very much compatible with existing supply chains, which is a term I use often as a logistics officer.
Yeah.
And you want to have what's available and make it work. So that was a brilliant segue. With that said, Carl, nothing is better than speed in combat.
No.
And so for those who follow me, know that I use Toyota 4x4s between most of our missions outside the wire because they were fast.
The Hiluxes. Why can't you bring the Hiluxes to America?
Oh my God, they were fast.
That's like the S.
Built like goats.
Yeah,
built like goats.
That's the S10 version of the Ford pickup truck.
These things get up to 105, 110, and that's what we would do on the old Russian road between Kabul and Bagram.
Yeah.
110 miles an hour.
No,
all the way.
I remember that. Because if you're going fast enough, the IED detonates behind you.
That's right. That's it.
Yep. I remember.
Never lost anybody by having that work.
We always had this debate with the Army guys, because when we would run an op, sometimes we'd bring in an armored division to do cordon and carry out some sort of secure perimeter for us. And it was interesting because they never, they always had neck armor and ball plates.
Well, some people did. We didn't, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but we're talking about your regular infantry divisions, and we would have 3 magazines of 30 and then 2 in the gun.
Yeah.
And they asked her, like, you guys are so you have no plates almost, like we had trimmed down plates, chicken plates we called them. And light is right, man. If you got to climb a roof, you do not want to weigh 150 pounds more than you normally do.
Now we had the lighter body armor. We use essentially fisherman style vest for our LBE.
Yep.
It just throws shit in it. It's like, that's light enough.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
it.
That's exactly the same thing here. We had enough issues too with the general.
Yeah.
It was always an army commander that ran the battle space, and they were like those effing SEALs, like every single time. But we got along great in the end.
Some army guys who are not exposed to special operations don't understand special operations. Just saying. I've known a few general officers who were not enlightened.
Renegades that are generally outcast from society, but were really good at killing bad guys.
I had to handle some KIAs one evening from CIA, and the post sergeant major came looking for the most senior officer on duty.
Mm-hmm.
It happened to be me, and I came out with a J. Peterman T-shirt and a goatee. And he could not comprehend that I was a major. It was unfathomable.
Yeah. No, we are still going here. This is obviously the 250th celebration of the 250th birthday of the Army. Donald Trump's birthday, Flag Day, right here in Washington, D.C. We got howitzer cannons marching down. Constitution is it's just something I never thought I'd see, but I'm here for it, man. Outside the box.
Hey, did you notice they're not fat? They're in shape. That's a good sign.
Fit, not fat, as Secretary Hicks has said.
That's right. That's a big thing. And as you know, Pete's been out doing PT with the folks.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
Good. I did see that he's gotten a little bit trimmer since he's been in. It's because he had to keep up with all the frontline guys now. He's no longer a desk jockey.
I challenged him to a pull-up contest, so he's thinking about it.
Yeah, send it, Pete Hegseth. This is interesting to see a lot of these units now, because there's always been a high standard in the military amongst ourselves, but administratively it was dropped. I remember looking at the PT standards. They dropped even when I was in, before, pre-Trump. This is under Obama, where you could. At some points, people could not complete a 1.5-mile run for the Navy PST in 25 minutes, and they were being retained.
Same in the Army.
Yeah.
We used to call it the people who used to do the written PT test.
Yeah.
It's like just filling in the numbers without taking it.
Well,
saying.
Got to a point where they said that you could, you can just ride a bike or something. I was like, tell me the last time you saw a bicycle in Baghdad.
I don't see them in combat often, and people who are normally riding them are dead. Just saying, it's not. If you're in combat on a bike, that's not a survivable means of transportation. Just saying,
not really a thing.
Yeah.
Having the fit, the military. This is something that I remember growing up. Like when I was looking at military commercials, it was fit. It was G.I. Joe. It was be all you can be. It was the best shape of your life.
Yeah.
And, we got away from that for a little while with this accommodation and body positivity. And I'm looking at most of these soldiers. I'm like, okay, I'll go to war next year.
These guys are strapped, to use the term, yeah. And that's what we need to do. We need to be focused on fitness, on physical and mental fitness.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get anything controversial. I don't want us to get in trouble.
I do.
Well, the whole transgender thing, we've been talking about it. And I know the policy's changed, and I've had some static from my friends who think that, it's inhumane. Look, you and I have been there on the front line trying to do stressful things. If you're stressed out already because you have doubt about your own sexuality, I just don't think you ought to be trying to figure out your sexuality in the Army or the military. Just saying.
In a land of limited resources, you have to be able to do what's conforming. It's the same thing. Does the Humvee part fit on the new armored carriers? Yes. Okay, great. Everything, you use the same bullets, you use the same tourniquets, the same radios. You don't. So if you're out there and you need special hormones or special uniforms or special feel-good policies, it is not conducive to a strong military front line.
Look, I sent a guy home, a civilian contractor, because he was deployed as one of our field folks in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And you know what, Carl? He ran out of his drugs.
Yeah.
And I sent him home. It's like, you can't stay here. You might die.
Yeah.
So if you have someone who literally is compromised physically and may not be able to survive without certain drugs in combat, they shouldn't be in combat.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Secretary of the Navy.
Yep. I actually interviewed him out on the Ford the other day. Fantastic trip. They flew us out there on the Blackhawks. We got shot off the thing on a COD.
Holy cow!
Yeah, you know, and the old things too. I'd been shot off a carrier on the steam-powered catapult system.
So the electrical ones were even better, right?
This one, this hit hard.
Wow!
This hit harder.
This
than
is
the
electromagnetic. Yeah,
yep.
it's all electric.
It was
no
like
steam.
0 to 140 miles an hour in like under 2 seconds for a fighter jet.
Wow!
So it's an incredible.
Hear the name Bastogne. They remember one of World War II's most heroic defenses, the Battle of the Bulge. Surrounded by German forces in the frozen forests of Belgium in December 1944, soldiers of the 101st Airborne held the line.
You know, it's interesting. There's having all these protests, okay, all over the place. People are, I mean, I'm getting alerts on my phone as we go through this. People are protesting no kings, trying to,
Yeah, I saw that.
Like Donald Trump is some sort of, like he's
I just got an alert that someone in Spotsylvania may have been hit by a car in one of those.
Right. Well,
by my law enforcement contacts.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about it, Tony, and you know what kings don't do? They don't allow other people to protest.
I know.
Having no kings.
It's amazing.
Isn't that weird?
You know, there's a line from The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
I don't think you understand the meaning of the word that you're using.
Yeah.
I think
exactly.
I don't think you guys understand what you're saying. So
no, I think so too.
Yeah.
More Abrams coming through here.
Yeah,
Tony, I'm starting
cool.
to think that they got most of the ones in the country up here because this has been.
Well, these are the A3s, I believe. These are the most modern. As mentioned, Fort Pickett has hundreds.
Yeah.
From, sitting down there,
this looks like they're coming through with some SOCOM guys.
Yeah.
From the Special Operations Command. It's
spoiler alert: SOCOM guys don't look like that in combat. Just saying.
Yeah.
They dress up like this for
most SOCOM guys. I remember going out the door. This is so funny. We used to go out the door in like board shorts and maybe a T-shirt with body armor. Everybody had a beard except for me, by the way.
Yes.
I physically can't.
I had a goatee.
3 months into deployment, they're like, Carl, you don't need to shave every day. And I was like, screw you guys. I haven't shaved in 3 months. Nobody noticed. It was actually quite funny.
Yeah.
But, watching the more modern, you see guys there with a sniper rifle, looks like a 338 Lapore suppressed.
So, there's a real modernization of the Army going on right now. The uniforms I mentioned, they're drone. I was about to mention the drones because that's changing, as we mentioned earlier at the beginning, Carl. The World War I tactics with the modern inclusion of drones is significant.
Yeah.
Drones are finally tuned down to the point of where they can go after individuals. So it's a very scary new form of warfare.
Yeah, I mean, and there's not much you can do about it either, especially with these new fiber optic ones that have actual they're hardwired to the central location. They go 6 kilometers with a hardwire fiber optic cable.
You can't defeat it if you can't interfere with the signal. Yeah.
But that's why they make 12-gauge shotguns. Get good at skeet. Now, these are my people right here. Granted, it's the Army branch, but the SOCOM, one of the things that people I don't think understand about SOCOM is we roll out the door and we do all this badass stuff. However, the support team behind any type of special warfare is immense. Like we roll out with 16 guys, but we have as much as 500 to 1,000 people behind us backing us up. I mean, that is the real testament to us being able to do what we do as special warfare.
Well, I think the two things that are going to help us now going forward, and you're pointing out the logistics, obviously, but the logistics have to include the new technologies, which are effective. One of my criticisms, I said this on your show, we can't have generals trying to fight the last war.
Right.
And I think raising General Kane, I think he gets it. He's been there. He understands drone technology.
Yeah.
He was there in Iraq seeing the Al-Qaeda, the ISIS guys using drones against us.
Right. Here's a guy carrying a drone, launching him from a mobile position. I remember, so I was a JTAC. My job was to call in airstrikes and control our air assets overseas. And I remember we used to have these huge computers that are almost completely antiquated, but they were on your wrist so you could see what the Predator drones are seeing.
Yeah.
And now you have an E5, a young enlisted guy, 24 years old, that can fly one of these things with the precision of a Predator drone with an actual pilot.
Wow.
And they can lock onto a target, they can follow them, and the guy will never even know they were there, and it doesn't require any type of outside intervention.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And by the way, personal note, this is pretty badass.
Yeah.
Journey separate ways with some of the finest new technology being paraded down Constitution Avenue.
Yep.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it is something. Also, what I love to see is the same M4s that we've always used. They haven't changed that much. They changed some of the sniper rifles, some of the capabilities there has gotten a lot better. But it's so funny to see. I have a drone like this up at my farm that I use.
Oh, my son has one.
Yeah,
he loves it.
It's remarkable that is now standard combat issue for people overseas. These are infrared drones. They can pick out heat signatures from 2,000 feet up. At 2,000 feet, you can't hear that. That thing's about as loud as a computer fan.
Well, one thing we haven't said today, and I think the reason we're doing this way, is it's no secret, Carl, we have not had a near-peer conflict.
No.
That we've had to armor up, so to speak.
Right.
To the level we're looking at now. So I don't want to... Oh, I'll just do it. I'm going to bring up China. China has been on a upward trend of building all sorts of armor, aircraft, ships. They're outclassing our ability to make ships at an order of magnitude.
Yeah.
All of our combined shipbuilding here, Newport, Portsmouth.
Forces that they've got billions of people in China, so they're
1.4.
Yeah, exactly. So they can recruit more people to their armies than we ever could at 350 million people in America.
That's right.
But the technology now, that's where it's at. If you can disable someone's technology, I mean, look at Israel. Israel, the first thing they hit was missile defenses, radar stations, early warning systems.
Right.
Even before they hit the nuclear sites.
Well, it's interesting that as much as technology is important, it's important to recognize why the M1s are designed the way they are. Yep. So, and I mentioned the first Gulf War. Carl, we were taking out like 50 tanks to one.
Yeah.
And that was what they were designed to do. We knew we could never overwhelm the Soviets by numbers.
Right.
We could never build to the numbers. So we had to build to strength.
Right.
So the M1 was designed to be survivable, to go into a one-on-one or five-on-one fight and come through victorious.
Right.
So I know that they've gotten some bad press from Ukraine. We didn't send the best ones to Ukraine, just saying.
I'm fine with that, actually.
I am too.
Yeah.
I'm just,
I don't want to send them our best stuff.
I don't want people to be thinking, oh, the M1s they're like, yeah, we didn't send them the most, the most modern ones for any number of reasons.
And, I know some people are sitting back right now and wondering, like, hey, if we've got all this technology, we've got 24-year-old kids learning how to run drones with, something from their wrist.
Yeah.
Why are we rolling M1 Abrams down there? And it just comes down to the fact that there is no measure to how important it is to be able to break stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And that is one of the things that M1 Abrams do. We got some more helicopters flying over. Let's see what kind of birds we got this time. All right, they're coming in with more Apaches.
And those are the most modern Apaches right there.
I'm a big fan of the Apaches.
Those are the new ones that actually are very effective.
They just set up the tanks to get the tanks out of here.
Well, these guys are picking it up here. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Yeah.
I will say, it has got to be pretty cool to be in one of those Apaches flying by, watching a president who just built up your military again. I mean, this is pretty impressive, I will say.
Yeah, those are the most modern Apaches. You can see those, the improved ones with the actual radar on top of the mast.
Yep.
Those are very good for anti-armor, just saying.
For the 250th anniversary of the Army, Donald Trump's birthday, Flag Day. I think his first term, he really wanted to do one of these. And everybody kind of talked him out of it. And he was like, you know what? Screw it, guys. We're doing it. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, it was a shame. He should have done it. Well, 250th anniversary, great justification. And just think of what you got to look forward to next year for the Navy.
Well, I'm more looking forward to the 250 for America. I heard from a friend of a friend that they may be doing something out at Mount Rushmore as a 250 bash. Look, I am here.
Wow.
I want low-flying Eagles.
Well, I think it's time, long past time, for us to have pride in our country. I think a lot of people have been conditioned to think somehow America's strength was a bad thing.
Yeah.
Our defending our friends, allies, and trying to promote economic freedom for the world was a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I think that time has passed. I think we've actually got our mojo back, to quote Austin Powers.
Exactly. And what's the criticism? Oh, it costs some money. It's like, yes, this is costing some money, but at the same time, we spend more money on training evolutions and things like that get canceled than we ever will on this parade.
I hear USAID has gone. Maybe we can take their money. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Congress just passed a bill.
They passed the Doge cuts. That's
$9.4 billion in savings.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Hey, look at that. Thanks, Elon. Which I hear they're back together. I hear the band is back together now.
Yeah, they apologized. I think they're going off, on a honeymoon or something. Who knows?
Yeah, you know what? They were a great team. I'm happy they're back.
It's good.
What's crazy is there is a robotic dog walking down.
You guys can see it on the screen. We're looking at it live.
Incredible here. So, look, I happen to think the Terminator was a warning, not a blueprint. But apparently, I'm okay with our military actually having.
I'll be back.
Yeah, exactly. Robo Dogs, Army's future. Whoever did that banner back in New York. Yeah. I'm excited about that one.
So I've worked on a couple things with Boeing, and suffice it to say that these things are designed not only to accompany troops. What's better if you're in combat, you run out of ammunition, do you want to send one of your buddies to go get it? Nah.
No.
Send a dog with a backpack on it, and he'll run it out to you, and it's faster, more resilient, and it can get hit without having to be degraded.
Tony, they come with a flamethrower model.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy, that's going to be fun on Friday nights. Can you imagine having one of those things in the barracks with troops?
The drinking games that would go on with that.
We didn't say that. Take that off the record. Pretend we didn't say that.
No, I definitely said it, Tony.
So here's some great technology. You've got some of the robots. You've got some of the remote control stuff that's coming up. This is really good stuff.
Yeah, and as all this is going on, it's we're waiting for Donald Trump's speech, which should be coming up very shortly here. This guy, they're rolling down, by the way, if you can see these right now. This is an automated tank. There's nobody in there. All right? Think about that. The ability to save manpower. We've got another round of helicopters flying over, which is fantastic.
For historians, it looks a lot like the M2, M3.
Oh, here we go. We got the old 47s coming through here.
Yeah, standard ones. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, there they go. Anyway, still on the screen, the tank that we see there, the robotic tank.
Yep.
Oh, there's the helicopters. Flying. That's beautiful. Look at that shot.
And also, if people don't understand how big those are, that is literally a Greyhound bus.
That's a bus.
It's a Greyhound bus with two rotors on top and jet engines on either side.
And those things are still the fastest helicopters we have in the Army inventory.
150 miles an hour plus?
Plus. Way plus. Yeah, they got the improved Boeing VTOL motors on them. They're incredible. And by the way, designed in the 50s.
You know, it's funny. We had a small OIC, an officer in charge over in Iraq, and we were at the time using the 53s, which are a Marine platform.
Yeah.
53s is the same size with one giant blade over that.
Oh yeah.
Anybody's watched.
And you get the Super 53s now too, with the 3 motors on them.
Yep. And well, if anybody's watched Transformers, they're in that one. But that was one of those platforms that was in there, and it was those things can lift. Unbelievable. They can actually lift a tank.
Yeah,
which is incredible. We had a small officer in charge, and he was calling. I was calling in the bird, and he was throwing smoke to let him know exactly where we are, and it flew over.
Do you mind stepping over to
and he was so.
Oh, sure.
He was so tiny. He got knocked over by the rotor wash from the 53 coming down, which is the same size as those 47s that just flew by.
The long gray line
Here we go.
The Corps of Cadets.
Here we go. And Donald Trump up there saluting the next row of America's military right there.
So, Carl, you probably didn't know this, but I had to do the OPSEC security review of West Point in 1983. We, as Army counterintelligence, we had to do an assessment because terrorism. We had to do an assessment to figure out the vulnerabilities of West Point. And so, obviously, West Point is an amazing facility, amazing place for learning. And the cadets, have this massive chow hall.
Yeah.
Huge chow hall. It's enormous, and it's amazing, the traditions of the institution.
Well, you know what's interesting about military chow, for anybody who's not been in the military, you do a couple things in the military when you have time. You change your socks and you sleep. But if possible, you eat.
Oh, yeah.
And you eat everything you can, no matter whether you're going to throw it up later or not.
Yeah.
And that is the history of the Chow Hall. You want to watch just a garbage disposal of humans.
Yeah.
We will get in there as military guys and eat people out of house and home in seconds. It is a favorite pastime of all branches of the military. How'd you like this to be? You're just coming out of West Point military, getting ready to get your commission in the U.S. Army, and your last bit, you got to march in front of the president with your thing, with your uniform on, and you got to make sure you don't screw it up.
Yeah.
No pressure.
They're doing well.
Yeah.
They're doing well. It's amazing.
Now,
and we got some more traditional troops coming now, too.
Yep. Now, I think
Tony,
I'll admit I was never asked to join the band and anything. I am basically musically illiterate.
Well, but I think the cheerleaders probably liked you. Just saying.
Yeah, like to laugh at me.
Yeah. This looks like another institution. I think this is. Oh my goodness.
These are your people. Come on, Tony.
No. I just said it.
I saw the white uniforms for a second. I said, hold up a second. Are these my Navy people? Turns out it's not. Oh, the Citadel. There you go.
Citadel. So I was going to say the Citadel.
There you go.
The Citadel, South Carolina.
Yep. Nancy Mace's home.
She was one of the first female cats.
I think she was the first.
Yeah, the first.
Yeah.
Have you ever served with a Citadel officer?
No, I never have. Well, like I said, in the Navy, especially in the SEAL teams, we kind of did our own thing.
They're different. I'll be polite.
Yeah.
They're different.
They're different.
They're
okay.
different.
Well, they got to keep those nice, pretty uniforms clean.
They do. I know.
Yeah. We love them all, though. We love them all. So this is an ROTC unit.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it's funny, ROTC, a lot of people don't understand. Basically, high school kids are giving up their extracurricular time. Most people are out drinking and partying or doing whatever. Yep. And ROTC kids, they get that extra ump. It helps get them into a military academy. But to be honest, it doesn't count for beans once you're in the service.
No, people don't understand.
But they do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I applaud that. And they do it for their own self-character, for their own self-development.
I think any institution you go to worth its salt, you will learn things and retain them if you pay attention, and they will serve you well.
Yeah.
I've always told my kids, never turn down an opportunity to do something you've never done. You can never tell what it's going to serve you at some point. And I think you go to academies, they give you opportunities, you pick the right courses, you will retain things for the rest of your life.
Yeah, well, also, too, and the famed opportunity, if you do something you've never done, you got to buy everybody a case of beer.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Which is I think across all branches, that might be a favorite.
Or you have to swim across a big sound or something, too, which I've seen happen.
Yeah, we've done that one, too. And there's a couple other traditions that I won't mention on air.
I went to a Chiefs thing once in Key West. When they convert the Chiefs from enlisted to...
Yeah,
it was interesting. They had hazing back in those days. Can I say that on air? I guess they did.
Hazing, look, bring back...
They don't haze now. They don't haze now, but they used to.
I remember my hazing thing. I had a mouth on me. Can you imagine that, Tony?
No, I can't.
And
how? I can't. I'm sure the audience is shocked right now.
Exactly. I checked into the new team, and I thought I was the cat's pajamas. And let me tell you, there was this guy, Josh. He hugged me up with a bunch of other guys. There was about 8 or 10 people. Tackled me, hugged me up naked from the ceiling of the high bay, and shot me with gunpowder-propelled paintballs until I submitted.
That's hazing.
That'll humble you real quick.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? It's all in good fun.
And we all learn lessons.
I hated that guy after that.
Oh, I'm
though.
sure. No,
yeah,
I.
But you know what? When we went to war, that guy had my back.
We all come back together, and that's a good thing. As much as we make fun of Blaine and other folks, we all work together to make things work.
Let's take a listen into what they're saying here, talking about West Point and President Trump shaking the cadets' hands. Let's tune in.
Giving back to our country.
You're a part of something that is much bigger than yourself. You're a part of a tradition of excellence and a legacy that's connected not only to the Academy, but to the American Army.
I'm surrounded by people who want to make themselves better and serve our country.
Excellence is their baseline, and that to me is what it means to be a West Point cadet.
From the earliest days of our nation, this supreme tradition of American military service has been passed down from soldier to soldier and generation to generation, and it's a beautiful thing to watch.
My brother preceded me here, and originally I didn't really know what West Point was until he came. But when I saw the mission that they were committed to, of upholding the principles of American democracy and protecting the Constitution, I knew it was somewhere I had to be.
Every time that we lived outside of the United States, I always developed this sense of gratitude and pride of being an American, and I wanted to give back to my country what it gave to me.
And it wasn't until I zipped up the blouse and I put the belt on for the first time that I realized that I was going to be serving my country, and it felt right. West Point was the place that I needed to be, and more importantly, the Army was where I wanted to be.
I just looked to the left and right over basic training and realized that we all had the same American patch on our shoulders, that we're all fighting for the same thing. I mean, there was no better feeling in the world knowing that every single person around you is committed and willing to die for that mission.
You came for excellence, you came for duty, you came to serve your country, and you came to show yourselves that you are among the smartest, toughest, strongest, most lethal warriors ever to walk on this planet.
What excites me the most about my future in the Army is the opportunity that I'm going to have to give back to the American soldiers that I'm going to be leading.
Because ultimately, they don't get to choose. And to me, it's that burden of responsibility to be the best leader.
And as a young officer, that's going to be exactly what I get to do.
I was the cadet basic training first detail for the first 3 weeks. And I got to see the new cadets come in from their families' homes and being in process on their very first day and watching them grow so quickly.
I would do all the formations, and I looked out at these 1,000 new cadets, people who just come out of high school. They were completely different people.
I don't think there's another institution in the country like West Point where the student body is so committed to furthering the mission of America and ensuring our democracy and freedom for generations to come.
I'm really surrounded by the best of the best, and that's when I realized this is a place that I absolutely want to be.
West Point itself is an amazing institution, but it only provides opportunities. The people here have to choose to take those opportunities and grow and lead and serve. And the people here want to do that. And I'm proud to be a part of that. And I would tell any high schooler who is considering it, you won't regret it.
Left. Pace.
Mr. President, First Sergeant Norton reporting for duty, sir. Ready to commence the ceremony as directed.
I state your name.
I
Do solemnly swear. That I will support and defend. The Constitution of the United States of America. Against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith. And allegiance to the same. And that I will obey the orders. Of the President of the United States. And the orders. Of the officers appointed over me. According to regulations. And the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. So help me God. Congratulations. Congratulations. Welcome to the United States Army, and have a great life. Thank you very much. Have a great life. Thank you.
Ranger School is the best life insurance policy for our Army. It will always end with two people facing off with each other, and we need young leaders to be able to close with and destroy the enemy and defend our nation's interests forward.
Surrender is not a Ranger word. It's not an option. I know that I'm not going to be able to get to do this again. This is my chance.
It all starts at the legendary Ranger School, the crucible where these elite warriors are forged. It has been described as the longest approved gut check in the Army. Over 62 days, students will patrol hundreds of miles over mountains and through swamps under the crushing weight of their equipment. All the while, they are deprived of both food and sleep, forced to perform at the very edge of their physical limits. But it's not just the physical challenges that make Ranger School so intense. The mental strain will break these soldiers down to their core.
If I have a come-to-God moment, I have to take my PC off my patrol cap. And on the inside of that, my commander gave me a Ranger tab, the yellow and black one that you get during graduation. And I pinned it to the inside of my PC.
Ranger School is not for the faint of heart, but for those who are up to the challenge, it is the ultimate proving ground.
They already didn't have enough beds for the people in our company. And our eyes reminded us that we don't have enough beds because there's not going to be this many people by tomorrow. Just a slight reminder that there's too many of you anyways, and not all of you are going to pass.
Rangers, if you don't figure it out, you're about to get another casualty.
It's completely different than what people would think Ranger School is like, but you can't put that into words, so it's hard to tell somebody something that you have to experience for yourself.
They got a saying, it's called as the tab turns. So Ranger School is continuing to change and to develop, but at the end of the day, it is the same, right? They're always going to put you in scenarios that is going to test with your ability to actually make decisions on the ground.
As you go through Ranger School, it is a gut check. It's going to check you out. And what's going to get you through it is whether you have it or not. Thousands and thousands of soldiers train all their lives to come here, prepare themselves to come to Ranger School, and only a few hundred leave here every class with the tab. It's not for everyone.
I'm not going to leave until I get it, so just buckle down, stop complaining, and just get the job done.
Please welcome country music sensation and proud supporter of our troops, Warren Ziders.
Like she knows I'm lonely. Rolls up when the wine's gone like a record on repeat. Laying on old memories and talking about what we used to be. She'd probably be the death of me, but damn if it ain't sweet. She's my pretty little poison, my heartache in the night with a kiss on her lips just like cyanide. Yeah, she came with a warning, but I didn't mind. is that she wants me. Try my best not to fall where she falls into me. We all need some kind of fix. For me, she's the one to pick. Nothing else will do the trick. She's all I need. She's my pretty little poison. My heartache in the night with a kiss on her lips just like cyanide. Yeah, she came with a warning, but I didn't mind. I'll go out on that high every time. She's my pretty little poison. My pretty little poison. For some, I guess it's alcohol. I don't want none at all. I just want you. No, I just want you. My pretty little poison. My heartache in the night with a kiss on her lips just like cyanide. Yeah, she came with a warning, but I didn't mind. I'll go out on that high every time. She's my pretty little poison. My pretty little poison. She's my pretty little poison. Thank you. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I'm nervous, but I would just like to say thank you so much for having me here tonight. I am just so fortunate to be here in front of y'all, and thank you guys so much for what you guys do. And honestly, happy birthday, y'all. Happy birthday. This next song was loved by y'all. So if you know the words, please sing along. This song's called Ride the Lightning, y'all. Mama always said I was born on the right side. Yes, she did. One foot in the flames and the other trying to walk the line. Can't say I never saw it coming. I could see the warning signs. Mama always said I was born on the wild side. I guess Mama was right. 'Cause when the clock strikes midnight, gonna ride the lightning, feel the thunder till the darkness pulls me under. Gonna fly on wings of fire, breathing good, Lord lifts me high, singing oh when they call me on, singing oh when they call me on. Gonna ride There's a man in a black coat standing at a crossroads with a pen in his hand and a long list of life songs. They say he flips a coin, fools let a fool's gold. There's a man in a black coat standing at a crossroads. I hope he lets me pass by when I close my eyes. Gonna ride the lightning, feel the thunder till the darkness pulls me under. Gonna fly on wings of fire, breathing good, Lord, lifts me high. Singing, oh, when they call me home. Singing, oh, when they call me home. Gonna ride the lightning, ride the lightning, ride the We got one more chorus, y'all. Gonna ride the lightning, feel the thunder till the darkness pulls me under. Gonna fly on wings of fire, breathing good, Lord, lifts me high. Singing, oh, when they call me home. Singing, oh, when they call me home. Gonna ride the lightning. Gonna ride the lightning. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody here, everybody that has attended tonight, I just want to say thank you so much. And I'll leave y'all with this. I'm Warren Zatters, y'all. Thanks for having me. It has been my honor, ladies and gentlemen. I really mean that. Thank you so much. Happy birthday to the Army. Happy birthday to our President, Donald Trump. Amen, y'all. God bless America, baby!
This week we honor 250
All right.
years.
That was a heck of a concert right there. Guy rolled just a stage right in front of the main stage there. Just give that. You know what I love about these country guys? I've said this for years. Music for everyone used to be singing about the things they love, and somehow it's drifted away from that, and it's gotten back. In country music, at least, they're out there singing. They're saying thank you to the troops. Thank you to this great country. They're singing about things they love.
Yeah.
Can't think of a better thing than President Trump's birthday.
No, this has been a celebration of Americana. Country music, rock music, everything that makes America worth living in. Just saying.
Yeah. No,
So this is great.
That actually is a great point. This is a, hey, we're America. We're better than you. We know it. Step on us. FAFO, to be honest. You know, this is about doing the things that made America great. And all these self-hating libs are like, I'm upset about this. You know what? I don't really care if you're upset about it. I'm having an awesome time, and I think everybody who's here is having
Carl, did you notice that people are still trying to sneak into the border here? Did you know that?
Yeah.
That people want to come here still?
Weird. Why is
Weird.
that?
Why is that?
Is it because
Apparently we're
better
evil, but people want to be us.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
You know, it's funny. We just had a couple protesters come in here, and I don't actually know what they were protesting, but they can just say, you're welcome the next time a missile doesn't hit them, you know? This is incredible. Here comes the stage rolling out behind us right now.
Yeah.
We're waiting on President Trump, obviously, to speak on his birthday, Flag Day, 250th birthday of the U.S. Army, which, look, Navy guy myself, but the Army bailed me out of a lot of situations overseas.
We are one country, Carl.
Yeah.
We come together and do great things.
No, it's fantastic. Look, I'm having a blast. I think this has been a fantastic. It's cooled off about 10 degrees,
It is.
which thank God. You know, there's some. Everybody up here is in short sleeve shirts, and you know we were able to.
And by the way, just the record, we enjoy flying the Navy around. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we get a lot out of it. We learn a lot.
But you know what? The Army won't land on an aircraft carrier.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Yeah. Something about those bilge pumps.
Yeah, it's something about a short runway. All right, so let's go to Vice President J.D. Vance speaking right now.
Well, let me say to the thousands of Americans who traveled from distant towns and across state lines to be here today, this is your national capital. Welcome to Washington, D.C. We are thrilled to have you. This evening, as we celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States Army, the oldest branch of the greatest fighting force ever known to man, I want to say to all the soldiers all across our nation's capital and all across the world, happy birthday, soldiers. We're proud of you. And I want to say you represent an unbroken line of greatness, of excellence. And one of the things the President of the United States has told his entire administration, from the Vice President on down, is that we must remember that the young men and women who put on the uniform and serve this nation are our most precious resource. We must honor them, we must respect them, we must fight for them, and that's exactly what the Trump administration aims to do every single day. And so to our soldiers, we're so proud of you, and let me tell you that the way that we honor and respect you is, number one, we never ask you to go to war unless you absolutely have to, and number two, when we do ask you to go to war, we give you the weapons and the support needed to kick the hell out of the enemy and come back home safely. Now, I know I am the last thing standing between June the 14th is, of course, the birthday of the Army. It is, of course, the birthday of the President of the United States, and happy birthday, Mr. President. But I would get in trouble if I didn't mention that it's also my wedding anniversary. And so to my lovely wife, I love you, honey, happy anniversary, and thank you for everything that you do for our country. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce the 45th and 47th Commander-in-Chief of the United States Military, President Donald J. Trump.
Thank you to Vice President Vance, and thank you to our wonderful First Lady, and above all, thank you to the greatest, fiercest, and bravest fighting force ever to stride the face of this earth, the United States Army. Thank you very much. Because the Army keeps us free, you make us strong, and tonight, you have made all Americans very proud. They're watching from all over the world, actually. Made them all very proud. Every other country celebrates their victories. It's about time America did too. That's what we're doing tonight. And watching this magnificent display, our souls are filled with gratitude for every generation of warriors who have worn the uniform all the way back to the very beginning. So to every veteran across our land, and right here in our nation's capital, including 6 recipients of the Congressional Medal of Honor. We love you, we honor you, and we salute your noble service to our flag and to our country. As we celebrate tonight, we also think of the hundreds of thousands of Army soldiers who have made the supreme sacrifice for our nation and selflessly laid down their lives in every war, from the Revolution to the War on Terror. To the Gold Star families with us today, the courage of your heroes is the bedrock on which our entire nation stands. We thank you. Yes, we thank you. Today we commemorate an event that did not just change American history, but changed the history of the entire world. With the creation of America's Army on June 14th, 1775, liberty got its shield and the freedom got its sword. Those first Army patriots in the American Revolution fought against a fearsome enemy and impossible odds, but they were armed with a righteous cause. They were led by an indomitable commander, a truly great man, General George Washington, and they were united by an eternal creed. Their motto was victory or death. Over the past 2.5 centuries, our warriors have shown unrivaled valor on fields of battle around the globe. With the frostbitten feet and bloody fist, they have marched into the flames and fury of combat, charged up mountains, stormed beaches, waded through torrents of gunfire, and leapt into skies thick with smoke and shrapnel. The U.S. Army has driven bayonets into the heart of sinister empires, crushed the ambitions of evil tyrants. Beneath the threads of American tanks, it's done so well, it's done so much, and sent the devil himself flying into full retreat. Time and again, America's enemies have learned that if you threaten the American people, our soldiers are coming for you. Your defeat will be certain, your demise will be final, and your downfall will be total and complete. Because our soldiers never give up, never surrender, and never, ever quit. They fight, 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 and they win, win, win. And that's why no institution in history has entered more names into the roster of American heroes than the U.S. Army, the Congressional Medal of Honor, more than anyone or anything. There was Mad Anthony Wayne, asked by George Washington to lead a daring midnight raid up the cliffs of Stony Point with unloaded muskets and only their bayonets to fight the redcoats. Mad Anthony replied, "Issue the order, sir, and I will storm into hell for you." Then there was the Civil War general, John Corse, shot in the face in combat. He fired off a message to his commander: "I am short a cheekbone and one ear, but I am able to whip the hell out of all of them." He stayed on the front lines, it seemed forever. In World War II, there was the great Creighton Abrams, besieged on all sides by the Nazis at the Battle of the Bulge. He boldly proclaimed, "They've got us surrounded again, the poor bastards." This is the fighting spirit and unyielding force of the U.S. Army. It has never changed, and it will never, ever change, because there is no earthly force more powerful than the brave heart of a U.S. infantryman or an Army Ranger, paratrooper, or Green Beret. They are the best, they are the finest. From Bunker Hill to San Juan Hill, from Gettysburg to Guadalcanal, from Yorktown to Shiloh, and from the trenches of the Argonne to the mountains of Afghanistan, the Army has forged a legacy of unmatched courage, untold sacrifice, and unequaled and undying glory. Our soldiers have poured out their blood by the bucketful on Missionary Ridge and Heartbreak Ridge, on the sands of Sicily, Normandy, and the Philippines, and on the dusty streets of Da Nang, Baghdad, and Fallujah. Thanks to their extraordinary service and devotion, 250 years later, America stands tall, America stands proud, and America stands free. We're the hottest country in the world right now, and our country will soon be greater and stronger than ever before. Down through history, we've been blessed beyond words by this valiant legion of Army warriors and patriots, heroes and legends. And tonight we affirm with unwavering certainty that in the years ahead and in every generation hence, whenever duty calls and whatever danger comes, the American soldier will be there. No matter the risk, no matter the obstacles, our warriors will charge into battle. They will plunge into the crucible of fire, and they will seize the crown of victory, because the United States of America will always have the grace of Almighty God and the iron will of the United States Army. Congratulations to everybody. We love our country. We've never done better. Thank you. God bless you. God bless the Army, and God bless America. And now I'd like to ask our great First Lady to join me at the podium. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President, on behalf of the United States Army, the Army Golden Knights, I would like to present to you this flag, which was flown over our nation's capital in free fall during the Army's 250th birthday celebration.
All right. That is something that wraps up the 250th birthday of the Army of Donald Trump. Not 2 years, not 250. But Lee Greenwood is performing. Let's tune into him real quick and listen to him sing his beautiful rendition.
Were gone, I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again. Just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause our flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Happy birthday, Mr. President. From the lakes of Minnesota Texas, from sea to shining sea, Detroit to Houston, and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, sing it with me. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Light up your cell phone. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the United States Army. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
That is why I came down here. I just watched 2,000 people over there waving cameras and iPhones with the flat. That is what America's about, baby.
This, Carl, is what I signed up for. This is it. In 81, this is what I signed up for.
Yeah.
We're back, baby.
Yeah, we are so back.
We are so back.
What an amazing experience.
Wow.
Like, I mean, it's just starting to rain to it, held out. It's almost like someone's looking out for us.
I think there's a big guy up there who's. I think he's got a lot of love for us.
Yeah. He's helped me survive through a bunch of stupid stuff.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up our coverage. To Army's 250th birthday, Donald Trump's birthday, Flag Day. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you for coming out. This was absolutely an amazing experience.
Thank you, Carl. Look, this is a Navy guy. This has been wonderful. Inter-service cooperation. Thank you, Carl, for being so damn respectful.
Yeah,
Thank
well, no,
you.
we appreciate. I mean, I couldn't imagine something more honorable than to be here and stand here and get to oversee this. I mean,
what an honor! What an honor!
90 degrees out, and I had chills during Lee Greenwood.
Wow!
Just listen to that song. I was singing along, and they didn't put me on camera, but I'm out here belting. They got everybody on these risers, other reporters and stuff like that. They're all looking at me like, "What the hell is this guy doing?"
We're better than them.
Yeah.
Don't pay attention to that.
But look, I'm here. I'm having a blast. We're gonna go to the after party. There's supposed to be some fireworks if the weather holds.
That's right.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a thing. I got to get fed though, man. I've been up here for what?
We're all starving, but it's worth it. It's been great.
No, the only thing that could have made this better was like the hot dog vendors, the guys from like the base. That's the only reason I go to baseball games.
I still think they should have played the Apocalypse Now Valkyries with the helicopters. That's the only thing that would have been better.
Yeah. Well, they did play Fortunate Son.
Oh, they did do
when
that.
The Hueys when the Apaches. They didn't do it with the Hueys, which would have been fantastic. No, this is what's crazy is as President Trump's done, he's on his way out. The cabinet's on the way out. There's no more stuff. This place is still packed. Nobody's leaving.
Yeah.
Look at this. Nobody's leaving. They're hanging out. They're waiting for the next show. I think there's going to be a fireworks show. Probably.
Speaking of next show, to our leadership, we need to start planning the Navy anniversary next year. Just saying. Newsmax. I'm hearing from looking at X that people appreciated this.
Or we could rope it into the 250th America birthday.
Yeah, that
which,
too.
Like
that's cool too.
I'm here for. I will do a beer bong on camera for that one. For the sake of the country.
Pull-ups and beer bong.
Yeah, exactly.
Do a beer bong. Do pull-ups and another beer bong.
Yeah. You know what? Why not?
Man, that's good TV.
I mean, look, that's
ratings. That's ratings gold.
You know what? You and I, a lot of other people who went before us, we fought for this stuff. We fought for this great nation.
Yeah, we're having a good time, but people, we respect those. I respect those who I was in combat with. Some did not come back. And they would be here with us, wanting us to appreciate their sacrifice.
Yeah.
This is a great tribute to their sacrifice.
Yeah. I had a guy actually that we all wrote notes, before deployment, just in case something happened. And one guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but when we opened that note, unfortunately, after he was killed, he says, if I see a guy crying at my funeral, I'm coming to haunt your ass.
Yeah.
Because he wanted everybody to have some big kegger, throw a party, and act as if he was still there.
Yeah, and look, we are honored to have served and to be able to serve you all right now. This is truly 250 years, Carl, and we're sitting here at the anniversary of the greatest military to ever be on the planet. That's pretty special.
Led by a guy, George Washington, who was basically told, and not basically, he was told by the British Army that he was not officer material.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, yeah, put this in your pipe and smoke it, Britain.
Let's see how this turns out. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. This is.
And by the way, just a quick note on that. Much of what we do today in the Army is based on the Continental Army. And I'm a spy, no secret. Much of what we do in Army intelligence regarding spying was derived by George Washington himself.
No, and that was the other thing, too. That's why freedom of speech was so important. The First Amendment, as they said, because that's how the British squelched it. You weren't allowed to gather. You peaceably assemble. You weren't allowed to discuss certain things because it was considered, treasonous to the crown. All the things enshrined in the First Amendment were the things that the British tried to get us to stop doing. But,
that's why we're here to defend it.
It's going to be it. Well, folks, we so appreciate you tuning in very much. Tony, always a pleasure, my man.
Thank you.
All right.
This is great.
Till next time, I'll see you guys at 5 o'clock on Monday. I'll be back in studio up in New York. We'll see you there. Thanks so much. God bless.